On the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Do you know what it means to race here?
Green, green, green. We are green.
Do you know the opportunities that exist here?
Do you know the pressure?
All around the country,
All around the world.
there's drivers young and old.
We want the chance to do what we are doing.
What we are fighting for.
What we're racing for.
We've raced our whole lives and sacrificed so much.
We've worked hard.
Stayed up late.
And gotten up early.
We've proven doubters wrong and made our supporters proud.
Our dream is in front of us.
The only thing left to do
Is win.
I'm Rob Howden, the Mazda Road to Indy Insider. As always, so much going on here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As I work my way through the paddock, having to talk to some key people, I saw Nelson Mason, a driver I talked about at St. Petersburg. He's a young Canadian with a lot of European experience, really wants to get into the Indy Lights program with Team Pelfrey. They're putting the funding together right now. We expect to see him on the streets of Toronto in his home country, but he would also like to get on track at Road America in June to see if he can get some seat time before heading to the streets. In addition, a couple of drivers not racing here this weekend. Very disappointing to not have Jamie Caroline in his BN Racing USF 2000 car at the Carbonite Classic. Family emergency at home. He was here in Indianapolis, but had to fly home immediately to take care of the family. Two other drivers not here, but not overly surprised. Sabra Cook and Michael D'Orlando not here for Team Bennick, as they are looking to try to keep putting together their funding for 2018. The oval at Lucas Oil Raceway, always precarious. If you have a wreck, it's often going to be a big one. They elected not to run at the Lucas Oil Raceway Carbonite Classic, the Freedom 75. They'll look forward to being back on track at Road America at the end of June. And to cap off this segment of The Insider, let's talk about this weekend in Indianapolis. It's all oval, no road course. The USF 2000 and Pro Mazda drivers running at Lucas Oil Raceway. They're learning this discipline. It's so unique. It's not like road course racing. It's something absolutely in and of itself. Now, one of the big things they have to deal with is the spotters. There are the eyes and ears of these young drivers as they're out there pounding around the banks of the 5/8 mile oval. You go to that spotter stand, though, and you're going to see some pretty cool names. Sebastian Saavedra, multi-time starter in the Indianapolis 500. And speaking of the 500, many of the spotters who will work with those drivers in the IndyCar Series here on Sunday also work with the young drivers in the Mazda Road to Indy. One in particular I find pretty interesting as well, Aaron Telitz. Been around the Mazda Road to Indy for many years. A winner in USF 2000, a winner in Pro Mazda, and 2 times a winner last year in Indy Lights. He was there on the spotter stand as well, making sure that his driver knew exactly what was happening on the racetrack.
So with the first oval race of 2018 upon us here in Indianapolis, Indiana, we're going to spend a little bit of time getting to know the drivers and the preferences of their helmets, what went into the design, and why they choose to wear the helmet that they do. So we're going to head over to Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Brownsburg, Indiana, as well as spend a little bit of time here at the new Bell Helmet Shop on Main Street in Speedway, Indiana, learning about these drivers and the helmets they choose to wear out on the track. So one of the Bell Helmet athletes competing this weekend in Indianapolis, Kyle Kirkwood. Now, Kyle, I've always admired your helmet through karting, and here on the Mazda Road Indy, it's really unique. Just talk to us a little bit about what went into it.
This is a design that I've had for a few years now. This is actually the second edition of this, and with this helmet, I did the 8 ball on the top, as you can see.
Well, yeah, it's painted by Art Infinity in Brazil. And then it's just pretty straightforward. I mean, I kept the background black and then just do the orange stripes to kind of do a match over it. And then, of course, the Brazilian flag because I'm from Brazil.
Well, this helmet is probably my favorite helmet that I've had. Of course, all of them are.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the app now.
From Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, it's time for the Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires, on the Advance Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network.
Here we are at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is time to go racing in the Indy Lights Series, presented by Cooper Tires on the Advance Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. My name's Nick Yeoman. Thank you so much for joining us as we get race number 1 started on a doubleheader weekend for the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires. Anders Krohn joins us, our driver analyst. Anders, qualifying, fascinating yesterday. Victor Franzoni, his first career pole. The question now becomes, can he keep that car up front to score win number 1 in his career?
Well, that's exactly it. And with tire degradation as extreme as it is here at Road America, that's going to be the telling tale of it all, is how well can he save tires along with everyone else. And the only thing to his detriment is the fact that he's never driven here in a race situation in an Indy Lights car before. So certainly Santi Urrutia and Colton Herta is going to have a big advantage in that department, knowing exactly what to expect with the tires falling off. But Victor Franzoni won both races here last year in Pro Mazda, went on to win the championship, so I think he could be in a good position.
Victor Franzoni is your pole sitter. He grabbed that pole position with a great qualifying effort yesterday morning at 1:53.188 seconds. And yesterday, Jake Query caught up with him after he scored that first career pole position.
The first pole for Victor Franzoni. Behind you, when you sit in the car, it says Slick Vic. And you got out of the machine, and I'll tell you what, you went around and congratulated every teammate. And it seemed like I could almost see the adrenaline still pouring out of you. That was a heck of a lap. Take me through it.
Was a great quali. We knew we would be strong here. We came to test, and we were really fast here. And then we just had to put everything together in one lap. And we did it. And I think now I'm used to the car. Now I'm fast in the car. And how I said before, we were improving. Now I think we got to a point that we are fast. We are here to win race now. So I think we'll be good the race.
Was that flyer lap everything that was in terms of speed in the car, or is there perhaps even more speed that you can find in it?
I think we still can find more speed in the next lap. The lap after, I was going a little bit faster, and I made a mistake. But it's part of the thing. You're trying. You're in the limit all the time, and. Was good. I'm super happy. I'm really excited for the race.
Slick Vic Franzoni on the pole here to start race number 1 with Santi Urrutia to his outside. Colton Herta and Pato Ward, the Andretti teammates who come into this weekend 1 and 2 in the points. They start in row number 2 alongside each other. Aaron Thielitz starts in the 5th position. Ryan Norman to his outside. And Dalton Kellett alone in row number 4, starting in 7th. Well, this is just a fabulous road course. We all love coming up here every year, but it is a massive racetrack, 4 miles in length, 14 turns, so of course we need a little help to call the action. Got 3 of them out there on the racetrack, and down in turn 1, who's going to be calling quite a bit of action on that opening lap. We're hoping it stays clean. Michael Young, I know you've got a really good view of that right-hand corner.
Good afternoon, Nick Yeoman. Yes, indeed, I do. The very tail end of this front straightaway can get them right about the start-finish line. They climb the hill out of turn 14. They get to the crest of the hill, which is start-finish line. Then they go back downhill as the Mazda pace car rolls by me. Victor Franzoni, your pole sitter. They will enter turn number 1, which is about, I'd say, a 110-degree turn. Not really a 90-degree turn. It's amazing how much speed they will carry through turn number 1. They will then go across the Briggs and Stratton Tunnel, work their way down to the Track Shack Barbecue. At turn number 3, they'll make a right-hander, start working their way back up the hill, and then they will crest turn number 4's hill and drop down into turn number 5 to the view of our very own Dave First. Dave?
I'm sorry, Michael, you had me at barbecue. You know, it's known as America's National Park of Speed, and nowhere is that more evident than this section of Road America. Tree-lined on both sides. They head north and downhill. They call it moraine sweep. A total drop of about 60 feet or so, and down through the gears into turn 5. This area is so fast. Back in the day, CART used to go some 200 miles an hour through this section. Indy Lights will go down to second gear before making the left-handed 90-degree turn, as I see the field going by me now. One of 3 good passing zones here at Road America. We'll see if anyone takes advantage of that here today. From here, it's under the Corvette Bridge and into another picturesque portion of this great layout and into the view of Jake Query. Hi, Jake.
There, Dave, it is absolutely perfect in terms of the weather. Field comes into my view behind the pace car just now, and this is an interesting area of the racetrack, essentially the southwest corner here of Road America. It involves a left-handed turn and then a number of turns, technically speaking, but in reality, this 8 through 11 combo is just a long, sweeping right-handed turn, basically a keyhole type turn that they will work their way. They are at the bottom of that long circular sweep just now, and then they start to come back into my view as I sit right in the middle of it, off to my right-hand side. They start to move downhill just a little bit. They go underneath the Continental Tire Bridge, and then it's turn number 11 to escape this area. That's a right-handed turn, and that escapes my view. But it is tree-lined. There's not a cloud in the sky. Nick Yeoman, it's a perfect day to be here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
How about a look at those conditions? Let's go pit side and check in for the first time with Rob Howden.
Yeah, Nick, it's a beautiful day here, as you guys said, significantly warmer than qualifying. It was 61 degrees this morning, 76 degrees ambient temperature right now. Track temperature about 104 degrees. Much different conditions than they qualified on. We'll see if the engineers rolled the dice and came up with the right setup.
Only 104 degrees of track temperature. Weren't we just in Texas when it was like 137, 140 degrees? Still a beautiful day and a great racetrack to go racing on.
Yeah, but the temperature delta, as Rob documented there, is huge. Is a huge swing from this morning and a huge swing from yesterday. So it really tends to grease up a lot under those conditions and make the cars float all over the track. So yeah, it really is a question of what have the engineers done to make sure these cars don't fall off that badly.
Mazda pace car pulls off just prior to the entrance of turn number 14, and the field of 7 bring their cars onto the front straightaway as we are set to go racing for 20 laps or 50 minutes here at Road America. Victor Franzoni driving for Juncos Racing. He's the reigning Pro Mazda champion on the pole for the first time in his career. He accelerates, and the 6 cars behind him do as well. Little bit of wiggling from Ryan Norman further back, but they'll see the green flag, and it's Victor Franzoni who will lead the field down to turn 1.
Nice formation for the field, working their way through. Colton Herta dodges inside, then outside. He'll go to the inside of Aaron Tielitz, grab that 3rd position. So Victor Franzoni will lead him down into turn number 3. Santi Urrutia, then the machine of Colton Herta as they make their way up through turn number 4.
Franzoni swings wide through turn number 4. He's got a nice 2-car length advantage over Santi Urrutia. Running in the 3rd spot is Colton Herta. Then you've got a good battle for 4th as Padua Ward is looking a little racy right there on Aaron Tielitz. Padua Ward looks to the inside. Left side tires, Dave First got in the grass as they go side by side for 4th.
That Soul Red Mazda glistening in the sunlight as Colton Herta down to the inside. Side by side, pushed Colton Herta to 2nd. Santi Urrutia down to 3rd as they pass under that Corvette Bridge.
So now Colton Herta sets his sights on the leader, that is Victor Franzoni. Franzoni kicks up a little bit of dirt. Herta manages to keep the car a little bit more on the racetrack. They start to go side by side in the back of the field. Ryan Norman and as well Dalton Kellett, and Norman is going to manage to hold on to that 6th position. Kelton in 7th. The leader is at the bottom now of this long sweeping right-hander. That's, of course, Victor Franzoni. He's got about a 10-car length advantage on Colton Herta. Then Santi Padua Ward.
A lot of guys sliding around on this opening lap, Anders.
Yeah.
Chalk that up to cold tires?
Well, no, definitely not cold tires at all. I think it's just they're pushing that hard, and with the high track temp that we're having right now, tire temp certainly won't be an issue. It'll be more of an issue of overdriving the tires this early in the race, and I was a little concerned to see that wheel drop there for Victor Franzoni, and if that would have done any damage. It's a very difficult spot, that turn 7, when you drop a wheel there's a big drop off, and it can do a lot of damage to the car. So in the case of Victor Franzoni, he needs to be careful early on here. And Colton Herta, though, he looks to be the man on the charge at the moment. He's starting to reel in now, Victor Franzoni.
Good battle for 3rd shaping up, though, Michael Young, as they head to turn 1.
Victor Zoni, he has about a 4-car length advantage as Pato O'Ward now takes a look inside of Santiarutia. They touch at the entrance of turn number 1. Santiarutia, Pato O'Ward, the left rear, or I should say the left front and the right rear of Santiarutia. No harm, no foul as they continue on, but Pato O'Ward trying to make up some ground early in this race.
It was very minor tire contact, if you can say that at these speeds. Pato O'Ward gathers it back up. Urrutia moves to the inside to block. That means Pato O'Ward moves to the outside day first as they challenge for third.
Franzoni all by himself, although that Yankee Blue 98's moving up on him. Then it is Santiarutia. Pato O'Ward all over that rear wing as they make their way through turn 6, now hitting the turn 7, Jay Query.
We'll take a look at that battle for third. It's a good one. It is Urrutia and as well Pato O'Ward. And again, they look like one car. O'Ward starts to pop to the outside, but Urrutia is right there. He cannot make the move as they enter in now through turn number 9. O'Ward again in this battle for third, trying to close in on Urrutia. Franzoni and Herta comfortably in first and second. No gain of ground at this point for Pato O'Ward. As a matter of fact, Urrutia gets just a little bit more room. And now all of a sudden Aaron Telitz wants to look at that battle.
Definition of hounding the back of that 5 car, right?
Well, also definition on how to not manage your tires. I mean, this is lap 2, and Santiarutia had a huge lockup coming into turn 6 and now overshoots the braking zone for Canada corner and slips it sideways. I mean, come on, guys. There are no pit stops here. We can't be doing this on the opening laps, and track position's always important, but you can't do what these guys have been doing for much longer because they'll wear these tires out in a matter of 5 laps here, and then they'll have nothing for the final 15 laps. So really, they've got to pick their battles, and I know things get heated. It gets personal when you're fighting with someone, but yeah, to me, the crews got to be screaming to them on the radio saying to calm it down because, this is smart on 0 level.
And Michael Young, that gap now from second back to third has grown quite a bit with those two battling.
Indeed, and then third to fourth at Pato O'Ward. I think Pato just taking a moment to reel himself back in and get those tires cooled back down to fight again with Santiarutia. That gap between third Santiarutia and then fourth Pato O'Ward, about 2 car lengths. They start to work their way up to turn number 5.
Yeah, they make their way underneath the Sargento Bridge. Here comes Pato O'Ward. Dave Fursey popped to the outside. He's going to complete that pass heading to turn 5.
Pato O'Ward to the inside, now protecting that position over Santiarutia. Then it's Aaron Telitz about 4 car lengths back, another 4 car lengths back to Ryan Norman as they head your way, Jake.
Leader is still Victor Franzoni, and when he comes into this area, I am essentially, if you will, in a peninsula surrounded by racetrack. And as Franzoni with Herta getting closer behind him starts to navigate his way around it, he looks off to his right and real estate is at a premium. Tents, campers, flags, all waving and waving now, watching Victor Franzoni sweep go passing by. Then Colton Herta behind him. They've got a sizable gap before you get to Pato O'Ward.
And Anders, that's the thing, that gap, sure, Pato O'Ward needs to save those tires, but every lap, every corner that he would have waited getting around Santiarutia, it allows Franzoni and Herta to pull away. It's really a tough game that guys got to play.
Yeah, it does, but it's going to be a game of give and take here as far as the tires are concerned. So I think if I'm Pato O'Ward right now, I'm going to think back to IMS road course, and what lost him those races or a chance at podium contention was the fact that he pushed too hard too early. So if he remembers back to IMS road course, he'll think to himself, I just need to take it easy here, knowing that the leaders, if they keep pushing this hard, are eventually going to fall back into my clutches. So you have to make a decision early on here, because if you go for broke on the opening few laps, unless there's a caution or something to let you cool down your tires, you're going to be in big trouble towards the end of the race.
And that battle for the lead, Michael Young, is tightening up front.
Colton Herta really starting to dodge Victor Franzoni a little bit. Stepped out that time by and just let Victor know that he is there. I think Colton was really on the charge. That opening lap was really a couple of good moves there as he got to that second position. He's got a good car. We remember back to Indianapolis. He fell back in the field and worked his way to the front. I think we might see that same type of move today from Colton Herta.
He's within a car length. He moves to the outside. Dave first looking for the lead.
He's to the outside, but the play is to the inside. So Victor Franzoni able to hold on to first, but now it's the over-under by Colton Herta. He looks like he's got the advantage as they go under the Corvette Bridge through turn 6, now headed to turn 7.
Franzoni's going to have his hands full when they enter in here into the carousel area. Herta is right there on him. As a matter of fact, right in the shadows of Victor Franzoni. Franzoni makes that left-handed turn. Herta is right there with him. Colton Herta had told me yesterday that this is a rhythm track that is just muscle memory, and right now that muscle memory working through the gearbox, trying to reel in on Victor Franzoni. Franzoni gets a little bit of room at the exit of the carousel. Call it about a 6-car length advantage.
Victor Franzoni's gotten a little bit better week in, week out in these Indy Lights cars. He is a rookie. He's never felt a challenge quite like this, though, Anders.
Yeah, no, this is going to be difficult here. And for Colton Herta, he's been here to Road America in an Indy Lights car in race conditions before, so he knows exactly how much the tires are going to fall off. So for Victor Franzoni, hopefully his engineer, Yancy Diottelevi, is telling him every step of the way, just keep conserving your tires. Obviously, fend off Colton Herta as much as you can, but not to the detriment of your tires, because these laps are going to get longer and longer and longer as the tires fall off here.
Franzoni is your leader. Herta runs second. Pato O'Ward runs third as the leaders head to turn 1.
Victor Franzoni, about a 2-car length advantage over Colton Herta. Now Colton trying to get underneath that rear wing as he drafts him down that front straightaway. Still about a 2-car length advantage as Victor Franzoni has a back end step out ever so slightly. That'll cost him a little bit of ground. So it's Franzoni, Herta, Pato O'Ward. Those are your top 3 going into turn number 4.
Yep, that big wiggle, Michael, might have been the opportunity Colton Herta needed, because he's closed to within 2 car lengths as they make their way down towards turn number 5. Herta's using the draft. It looked like 1 car heading down to 5. Herta moves to the outside. Dave First looking for the lead again.
A little push to pass that time for Colton Herta, but he's to the outside. Again, Victor Franzoni is able to protect the inside line. That means Colton Herta moves back a couple of car lengths. He'll settle for second for now.
Some a quarter mile or so for me in terms of the view to the north to watch this, and when I do so, literally it looks like 1 car entering the carousel, because Herta is right there and closes in when Franzoni has to slow down just a little bit entering the carousel. But that momentum of that long sweeping right hand, that turn 9, turn 10 area, that's where Franzoni manages to get that gap back. As a matter of fact, he has it once again now. They work their way now into the kink of turn number 11.
4 laps in the books, 16 to go. Let's check in on pit lane with Rob Howden.
Yeah, standing here watching with the guys from Uncos Racing here, Nick Yeoman, and just really watching what's happening here with the second-year driver Colton Herta. Of course, Franzoni, the rookie, he's trying to win his first race. Remember, this is the second season for Colton. He got a lot of mistakes out and away last year. This year, he's trying to minimize those mistakes. That's been his focus. One thing he's showing here right now is some pretty solid poise. Of course, push to pass here for Indy Lights, not like the Verizon IndyCar Series. You cannot use it in defense. It's only for offense. So right now, that's what's in the arsenal for Colton Herta. He's got push to pass when he wants it. He tried it down to turn number 5 last time by. Couldn't quite get the job done. But here comes Herta trying to get on push to pass once again to turn number 1.
To look to the inside does Colton Herta. Victor Franzoni, that lead now down to 1 car length. The back end steps out of Victor Franzoni this time by. But make a note, Pato O'Ward as that battle between Colton Herta and Victor Franzoni shapes up. Pato O'Ward now starting to join that battle.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that every lap that Colton Herta waits to get around Victor Franzoni, Pato O'Ward closes. O'Ward's about 8 car lengths back, but here comes Colton Herta. 3rd straight lap day first. He's challenging to the outside.
Same song. This time it's a different verse, as this time Colton Herta completes the pass. So Colton Herta leads here at Road America. Victor Franzoni second, Pato O'Ward third, Santi Urrutia, Aaron Telitz, Ryan Norman, Dalton Kellett.
All of a sudden, when they come into the carousel area, it is Colton Herta that greets the fans with Victor Franzoni behind him. Franzoni, by the way, got a little bit loose, kicked up dirt. Pato O'Ward got by him. So now Victor Franzoni falls back to the 3rd position. He's going to try to go to the outside, make it up on O'Ward. They are side by side at the bottom of the carousel, literally side by side. Herta starting to leave both of them in the dust. O'Ward manages to close that door, and Victor Franzoni falls back to 3rd.
Anders, walk us through what just happened there. That was wild.
Man, oh man, that was absolutely crazy. And I think Victor Franzoni just picked up a little bit of dirty air going through turn 7, got a bit wide and obviously off the track, and that gave O'Ward the opportunity to sneak by him. But Pato O'Ward had a big lockup going into turn 8 in the brake zone to try and fend that position off, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a fairly significant flat spot on that left front tire. So we should pay close attention to that. And Victor Franzoni, he's dropping like an anchor here. So not sure if he has some sort of issue there from that drive off the track.
Yeah, it looks like he may fall into the grass here in the next lap or two to Santi Urrutia, who is charging in third. Let's go back to pit lane and check in with Ryan Marine.
Thanks, Nick. A huge round of applause a few moments ago when Colton Herta made that pass from the Andretti Autosport camp on pit road, and then a lot of clenched fists and very tight faces, everyone very concerned during the battle there between Pato O'Ward and Victor Franzoni. But earlier, Rob was talking about the maturity of Colton Herta 1 year to the next. And it's interesting to see because 1 year ago in this first race here at Road America, Colton Herta qualified towards the back of the field and really struggled to make progress. He talked a great deal in the offseason about finding a way to improve his racecraft, his race pace relative to his qualifying pace. We know how good he was with that last year. It seems like he's really made some strides, and right now he's out leading the field.
Anders, how tough is it for a driver like Victor Franzoni? You got passed for the lead, then you made a mistake. How do you gather it back up?
Yeah, you just got to mentally reset completely, and it certainly is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you've gone off track, because then your mind's automatically going to go to, is there anything wrong with the car? Have I bent the push rod? Have I done anything that makes the car feel or drive worse? So it is a very difficult thing, but right now he's just really got to refocus and focus forward and try and be on the push to pass, get in the push to pass zone on Pato O'Ward to be able to get ever closer again. So certainly a difficult situation for him at the moment.
And Rob Houghton, I want to bring you in for a second because that entire Juncos Racing team certainly competing with heavy hearts this weekend. As boy, it would have been great to see Victor Franzoni pick up a win. This one's a long way to go, but I know everyone in that team dealing with some difficult situations right now.
Yeah, it's very tough for this team, and the news, of course, came out last weekend that the driver who ran Pro Mazda for Juncos Racing last year, Jeff Green, a 61-year-old racing enthusiast, passed away in an incident up at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And you look back at the story last year. In fact, Steve Wittick from Trackside Online and TSOladder.com did a fantastic article on how Jeff Green supported Victor Franzoni last year. Jeff is a guy who absolutely loves racing. He's was in the car dealership world in Peoria, Illinois. He's the one that was able to essentially fund Victor Franzoni last year, as he wanted Victor to be his teammate at Juncos Racing. Victor Franzoni wouldn't be here in Indy Lights if it wasn't for Jeff Green. And again, Jeff passing in a vintage race last weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Canada. This team is just trying to rally and work their way through here this weekend, having lost their friend.
And certainly a lot of tributes this weekend. Victor Franzoni is going to pace the Pro Mazda race in his Dallara IL-15 as a tribute. And as well, all of the Mazda Road to Indy cars are going to carry a decal this weekend to honor Jeff Green, who lost his life 1 week ago. Victor Franzoni giving that car a good run. Would have loved to have kept it up front. Now, Anders, the problem is he's got a hard-charging driver from Uruguay who is about 2 car lengths off of that rear wing here.
Yeah, indeed, and just kind of going back to the Jeff Green news real quickly, I think it just shows how the entire Mazda Road to Indy group truly is a family. Everyone gets together in these tough times, and Jeff Green, it really shows you that the Mazda Road to Indy really isn't just for young drivers wanting to climb the ladders. It is for racing enthusiasts like Jeff Green, and had it not been for people like Jeff Green, the likes of Victor Franzoni and other drivers as well would have never had the opportunities that they would have. I certainly know my career without several racing enthusiasts would have never happened. So it's a terrible loss for the entire racing community, but at the same time it's a reminder just how much of a family the entire community is, and that certainly feels good in a tough time like that.
7 laps complete, make it 8 now, as Colton Herta's lead was 1.2 seconds. This time across the line, it's down to 9/10. Michael Young, Pato O'Ward starting to reel in our leader.
Yeah, Pato O'Ward had mentioned earlier this morning in our broadcast for qualifying that he just wanted a better finish than he had in Indianapolis on the road course there. He just had a miserable couple of outings there. This time we're starting to see Pato O'Ward, I think, pace a lot better. Pushed it hard in the early stages, but as we approach that halfway point, I think he has a car to potentially challenge Colton Herta towards the end.
Yep, no doubt about it. Herta, it's about 6 car lengths, maybe 7 or 8, Dave, first they head to turn 5.
I call it 7 car lengths or so. It's almost as if O'Ward maybe, to conserve those tires a little bit, to just fine to settle in just a little bit here, as now Victor Franzoni for third. He's put a bit of a gap on Santi Urrutia, followed by Aaron Tielitz and Ryan Norman.
work their way here into that 7-8 area. Last time by, Pata O'Ward, and again he does it, is able to close in, make up a little room on Colton Herta, but then Herta starts to extend away as they take that turn number 9. Again, it's a turn 9-10 combo that makes up both of them right-handers, and in doing that, Colton Herta approaching turn number 11, leaving the carousel, starts to extend out again from Pata O'Ward. Then you've got Franzoni, who's gotten breathing room from Urrutia. Before Thiel, Ryan Norman, and then very well at the back of the field, Dalton Kellett.
Anders, this could be shaping up pretty good. This is 1-2 in the championship right here. Maybe battling for a race win. They're certainly going to be battling for the championship over the next few months.
And I know that they're both racing for Andretti Autosport, and obviously they would have had some team orders in the way of don't take each other out. But certainly as this championship comes to a close, there's going to be no love lost between these two, and they're going to fight each other harder and harder. And I think that the very interesting thing about these two is just how different their driving styles is. And I actually talked to them a little bit about this, and just how Colton Herta has a little bit more of a pushy driving style, meaning he wants the rear end a little bit more secure, whereas Pata O'Ward wants a car that's very, very free. And over a qualifying run, typically a car that's very free and on top of the surface can be very, very quick. But I think part of the reason why Colton Herta has been better relatively in the last few races is because he's got that car a little bit more secured during those long race runs. So it'll be interesting to see here in the latter half of the race exactly what happens, and if that becomes the trend, or if Pata O'Ward maybe has adjusted his car a little bit more similarly to the car of Colton Herta.
It was 9/10 of a second, Rob Howden. Now it's down to 5/10 of a second. Pata O'Ward rearing right on that rear wing, just a car length back of Colton Herta.
You can be sure Pata was on the push to pass coming down to turn number 5. But interesting, anytime, Nick, we come to an event, we always look at last year, who was good. Of course, the Andretti Autosport, very strong here right now, but last year was all about Carlin Racing. They're not running with us here last year. But the funny thing, you look at the results from last year, first and second in both of the Indy Lights races here at Road America, those 3 drivers all running in this year's Indianapolis 500. Mateos Laced won here in race number 1, Zachary Clayman DeMello in race number 2. And interesting, the driver who finished second in both races, you don't need to win. The guy who finished second in both races, Kyle Kaiser, went on to win the championship. Back down pit lane to Ryan Marine.
Well, speaking of last year, Pata O'Ward might not have raced here in Indy Lights, but he's a race winner in sports cars. He won one of his 7 Prototype Challenge class wins that he picked up en route to the class championship at IMSA last year here on this circuit. So a proven winner, a guy who's raced in some big-time races with a lot of pressure. He out-qualified Fernando Alonso at the Rolex 24 earlier this year. So he's a guy who knows how to handle these situations. He's really matured, his team says, and certainly his sports car team says, in his time racing on that side of the sport. But it's paying off for him here in a big way.
And it may pay off with a race win, because Michael Young, he is within 3 or 4 car lengths as they've reached halfway of this race. Here comes Pata O'Ward.
In the tire tracks of his teammate Colton Herta, he'll take a look inside. And to note what Anders Krohn had mentioned, when he comes off of turn number 1, that car nearly sideways like he's dirt tracking through the exit of turn number 1. Colton Herta more planted, but that lead down to 1 car length. Colton Herta over Pata O'Ward.
You can see the head movement for Pata O'Ward as well, as he's trying to lean himself and that Mazda through these corners underneath the Sargento Bridge. It's 2 car lengths, maybe 1. Dave First, he is getting awful close to the points leader.
1-2 in points, although the weekend started with a 6-point advantage for Colton Herta all over the back. Pata O'Ward, man, he was on the gearbox of Colton Herta that time as they moved under the Corvette Bridge. But as mentioned, it was a 6-point advantage when the weekend began. O'Ward won pole earlier for tomorrow's race. It's only 5 points, Jake, if they head your way.
That gap on the track is closing as well. Pata O'Ward now, as Colton Herta has to lock him up for turn number 8. O'Ward is able to keep right there. This time, Colton Herta is not able to necessarily extend through 9 and 10. Pata O'Ward keeping track of where that 98 goes. Colton Herta now approaching the kink in turn number 11, moving downhill. Starts to get, again, a little bit of an extension. He might have gained 2 extra car lengths of breathing room.
Yeah, Anders, the last couple laps, it's kind of seemed like Colton Herta on the back half of the lap, it's been a little bit stronger than Pata O'Ward.
And I think a lot of the reason for that is going through the carousel, you're so reliant on the downforce on your car. And when you get into that dirty air of the car ahead of you, you just lose so much grip. So it's a very difficult thing. You'll have a Great run coming through turn 5, 6, 7, 8, but then once you get to the carousel, it's so difficult, so you lose that momentum. And obviously, you don't want to lose momentum in the carousel because that leads you onto the longest straight with the kink and then eventually into Canada corner. So certainly a difficult thing. So I think Pato O'Ward, his best shot is going to be into turn 5 because really the two corners leading into that aren't quite as demanding on aero.
9 to go. Here they go to turn number 1.
Well, he thought he'd try to make it turn number 1. Look to the inside of Colton Herta, did his teammate Pato O'Ward. Further back is Victor Franzoni, Santi Urrutia. They have lost touch with the two leaders, but Pato O'Ward trying to get around his teammate the latter half of this race.
Slight wiggle for Pato O'Ward at the exit of turn number 3. They make their way through the kink, and they're heading to turn number 5. This is the spot that Anders talked about. Pato's got a good run. He closes to within the rear wing. Herta moves to the inside. Dave first. They're side by side for the lead.
Side by side, although Herta will have the advantage as they make that 90-degree left-hander. Then Pato O'Ward's got to settle in for second. He lost a good 2, maybe 3 car lengths in that process through turn 5, Jake.
The bender that is turn number 8 is at the bottom of a hill, and we'll see if Pato O'Ward gets enough momentum to try to get on the rear wing again of Colton Herta. But this time, they don't give me as good a show as Dave first had, because all of a sudden, Colton Herta gets himself, we'll call it about a 15-foot advantage, but he's able to extend that, as Nick had talked about, at the bottom of the carousel. Perhaps, as Anders had mentioned, that car just responding a little bit better. They work their way now through turn number 11.
Anders, he went to the outside. It failed, and boy, he lost a ton of ground to Colton Herta.
Well, I think the most worrying thing for Pato O'Ward is the fact that he had a big lockup on the left front, and that's the same tire that he had a big lockup on into turn 8 here. So he's got to be so careful with the brake release and not locking up too much, because the moment when you get a big enough flat spot, that's going to continue to hit every time you hit the brakes, and then you're going to lose out. And that's exactly what happened to him at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. So I think he's just got to be so careful now, and maybe when he's running in dirty air, he can just move his brake bias slightly more to the rear to make sure that he doesn't lock those fronts, because you can easily be out of contention. And look who's actually closing the gap now quietly. Victor Franzoni. The gap was some 3.7 seconds a couple laps ago, now down to 2.8. So he's loving the fact that these two are battling it out.
Yeah, certainly all of our attention was on the front, too, as that battle for the lead tightened up. But Franzoni's done a nice job of putting a 1.6-second gap over Santi Urrutia, who has had to be relegated back to the 4th position. So a podium may still be within reach for Victor Franzoni. Santi Urrutia, as we mentioned, runs in the 4th spot. Aaron Tielitz, who is from Wisconsin, the hometown guy, running comfortably in the 5th position. Ryan Norman runs in the 6th position. And Dalton Kellett sits in the 7th spot. Pato O'Ward, he's got to gather it back up. But clearly, Anders, turn 5 does look like the spot that he's going to have to get around.
Yeah, exactly, because it kind of gives you 2 long straightaways to build that momentum. The one is coming out of turn 14 up to turn 1. That's when you kind of pick up the draft and you get close enough to be within range. And then turn 1 and turn 3, if you time those right, you can actually stay fairly close there without losing too much momentum in dirty air. But yeah, I think just going through the carousel here, and Pato O'Ward is running a very wide line through the carousel, and I wonder, could that left front already be giving him some worries, because he's not challenging Colton Herta at all, and that's a very odd line to be taken this early in the race. So a bit worrisome there for Pato O'Ward.
Well, when we think about it, I mean, he was pushing hard and challenging guys from the very start of this race. For Herta, it was just trying to get to the lead, but Pato O'Ward's had to be probably a little bit more aggressive just to get to that 2nd spot.
Yeah, exactly, and I think he could be paying the price here. Either that, or he's just saving his tires for a little bit, so that would certainly be a good plan of attack for him to try and do that. But I'm trying to really pay attention to his hand inputs, and if you see someone just continually add more and more steering input in the middle of the corner, typically that means that they have understeer, and no more so is that the case than when you have a big flat spot. So I'm trying to really pay attention to his hands to see if that flat spot is already an issue for him.
It's 1.2 seconds, the gap from Colton Herta back to Pato O'Ward. 1 and 2, Rob Houghton, in this championship.
Yeah, Nick, they're getting on the radio with Victor Franzoni right now. His engineer, Yancey Diatalevi, TV telling him that Pato O'Ward is out of push to pass. Right now, Franzoni about 0.2 of a second quicker a lap. He needs to get to within 1.5 seconds to be able to activate that 50 extra horsepower. So Franzoni's up on the wheel right now. He has 15 activations still to go. With 7 laps, that's 1 down each of the long straightaways here. Right now, though, Franzoni has got to get to within 1.5 seconds.
Anders, that push to pass advantage and that program it's key everywhere, but how big is it at a place like this where you've got those long straightaways, the draft's already playing a big role?
Well, it's a ginormous advantage, but exactly we're seeing here, and it's a great note from Rob Howden on the fact that he's already used them up, and it's so easy to get sort of emotionally attached to those push to pass and get reliant on them, and before you know it, you have 7 laps to go still, and none of them left, so you can't do anything in the way of an attack. So yeah, that could be it for the race win run here for Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, certainly Colton Herta with the lead. Pato O'Ward runs in the second spot. Victor Franzoni is third. Last time across the line, Franzoni's gap back to the leader was 3.5 seconds. 5.6 seconds back at Santi Urrutia. His teammate Aaron Tielitz runs in fifth. Ryan Norman, Dalton Kellett runs 6th and 7th. Let's check in with Jake Query out on the course.
Interesting thing to see here in the carousel. Anders, perhaps you can touch on this. I noticed that nearly everyone last time by, when they were exiting the carousel, which is, of course, getting set to move to an elevation change downhill before they get to that left-handed that right-handed kink in turn number 11. But entering in through turn number 10, that curbing on the outside of the racetrack, nearly everyone got squirrely. Now, I haven't noticed that in the previous laps. Perhaps, Anders, this is the opportunity, or the time, I should say, where those Cooper tires start to fall off just a little bit, and that's an area of the racetrack, I'd assume, where you got to mind your P's and Q's.
Yeah, you got to be so careful there with any sort of steering input that you have, and that's because the car is at ultimate G-load, some 3 Gs being generated in the middle of that corner, and so the car is absolutely on the limit. So the moment when you get out to that curb, it's going to take away some of that grip, so you got to make sure you have completely straight hands, or if you don't, then you can have a big moment and go off track.
Working lap 15 of 20 here at Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This is the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. My name's Nick Yeoman. Anders Krohn joins us here in the booth. Rob Howden and Ryan Marine are on pit lane. It's Michael Young, Dave First, and Jake Query out on the course calling the action. As we've seen a pretty competitive race so far. Victor Franzoni was your pole sitter. He led the first 5 laps of this event, got passed by Colton Herta on lap number 6. Herta has led every lap since and fended off a really nice challenge from Pato O'Ward. And Anders, we're just watching it. It's 1.2. Now it's up to 1.6 seconds. Colton Herta is starting to pull away.
Yeah, he is indeed, and using his experience to get used. And I think Pato O'Ward's probably going to go to the series and lobby for more push to pass at the end of this race and see if they can change that for tomorrow. But no, very, very nicely put together run so far for Colton Herta, and exactly picking up where he left off last year, really. And you know, early on this year, I know we had some concerns going through St. Petersburg and Barber if Pato O'Ward was potentially just going to run away with the championship, but Colton Herta has responded, and he has responded oh so strongly. And right now, yeah, he's looking like the man on a mission.
Michael Young, that lead continues to grow, 1.7 seconds with 5 to go here at Road America.
And I'll tell you the observation. Colton Herta's line has not changed, but Pato O'Ward's has, where he would get sideways coming out of turn number 1 at the exit. A lot less, I should say, a lot more conservative of a line through there, almost as if he's lifting midway through or at the entry and not really getting back on the throttle, causing the back end to step out. And I think every time he tried to keep on that rear wing to get that opportunity to attack in turn 5, kind of losing that now with that less aggressive run through 1.
Yeah, that's the thing, Dave. First, while everyone else has been pushing and getting sideways, that 98 car has been pretty planted to the racetrack all day.
Just as you say that, a little brake smoke coming out of the back of Patricio O'Ward. He's doing everything he can to try to make up some ground on Colton Herta. It's just not happening at this point in the race. Colton Herta with a big advantage here at Road America, Jake.
Yeah, and Colton Herta looks very clean as he enters here into the carousel, takes that lefty that is turn number 8, does so without any problem whatsoever. O'Ward, to his credit, does essentially the same. Looks like the rear of O'Ward's car might be a little more free entering the carousel. Colton Herta still with no problem. He comes through that area I talked about where some had gotten loose. O'Ward went just a little bit more to the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody, though, cleanly in through turn number 11.
Colton Herta's lead, 1.79 seconds here with about 4.5 laps to go. And Anders, you talked about picking up where he left off a year ago in terms of that maturation process. Picking right back up where he's been the last 3 races.
It's unreal.
Going 4 for 4.
It's unreal, and I think he's just feeling so good in the zone right now. Him and Doug Zister have built such a good relationship over the last couple of years, and really, really coming into his own. And I think he's probably comfortable with the setup direction that he's going with the car every single weekend. He knows that there needs to be a difference between the qualifying setup and the race setup, and we could very well see him ride a wave of momentum here and just carry on.
And for obvious reasons, all of a sudden, his name going to start to be brought up in some of the silly season rumors because we've reached that time of the year.
Oh, sure. And don't forget, if he wins the championship, he also gets a casual $1 million check that'll guarantee him an entry in the Indy 500, as well as at a minimum of 2 other races. With what team? That's obviously a to be determined. But I know that there's a lot of want and wish for them to be with Andretti, though moving up together.
Yeah, well, you think about some of the names. The obvious one would be Andretti Autosport because he drives for him now. Certainly, do they have the opening, though? It doesn't look like it right now. Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan, that name's been tossed around. He ran a BMW for Bobby Ray Hall's sports car team here recently.
Oh, Santi Urrutia, what are you doing?
Dave first, Santi Urrutia got really wide there in 5.
Looks like he might lose a position. He got really wide, hard on the brakes, might have even flat spotted the tires, and all of a sudden he's now in a defensive mode here at Road America.
And all of a sudden, Santi Urrutia now, who was trying to reel in on Victor Franzoni, perhaps get himself a podium. He's got all kinds of business behind him from Aaron Telitz, his teammate. Anything that might have happened there in front of you, Dave, I think Urrutia might have gotten it corrected because Telitz was not able to close all the way in on the rear wing. But a bit of a moment there late in the race. Santi Urrutia out through turn number 11.
Yeah, he gathered it back up, but boy, that was a pretty hairy moment down there in turn 5, Anders.
Yeah, it was indeed, and just I think outbraked himself, and it can be a very easy thing to do if you're on the last couple of laps here, and maybe you're not as laser focused as you have been, or you just kind of settled into your position. It can be so easy to just outbrake yourself a little bit, or maybe not make as much of an adjustment in the cockpit as you need to as the tires wear off here. But yeah, he got away with that one, and luckily for him, with as few laps as there is to go, hopefully that flat spot for him won't affect him too badly.
Well, it has been a rough weekend for Dalton Kellett this weekend, as he's been kind of struggling for pace. And who we got? Ryan Marine. You can see that 28 car coming to pit lane right now.
He just brought it in to the attention of the Andretti Autosport crew at a crawl. His lap times have been going the wrong direction the last few laps, and perhaps a flat tire the reason for it. They're going to go ahead and change the front 2 Cooper tires. They're bolting them on now, but Dalton Kellett, the weekend has not gone to plan so far. The pole sitter for the Freedom 100 looking to try and salvage a little bit of something here, but not a whole lot of time left to do it.
Up front, that lead, Anders, has ballooned to 2.8 seconds for Colton Herta over Pato O'Ward. And, we talk about the future for Colton Herta. This championship isn't decided. It's not going to be decided today by any means. But Pato O'Ward is a guy that's got a bright future, and it certainly seems like it could be in the IndyCar Series as well.
Yeah, and I think certainly the both of them, would be very well deserving. I mean, as would, frankly, I think when you look at the top 5 here, all of them really have, the capability of moving up next year and doing a fine job, I think. But yeah, Colton Herta looking like the most polished product at this point in time out there, just in the way of putting the races together in the latter part of the season.
Yeah, came into this weekend with a 6-point advantage. Dave first talked about that pole position that O'Ward scored for tomorrow's race. That is going to play in big. That got the lead back down to 5 points, but certainly with this win, Colton Herta has a chance to push that lead a little bit further. And we continue to watch. Aaron Telitz doesn't let Santi Urrutia get away, and they're not too far behind Victor Franzoni. We may possibly have a battle for the final step on the podium, although we are running out of time. We're going to see 2 laps to go this time.
And I'm looking at the push to pass here and seeing that Aaron Telitz only has 2 pushes left to go, and Santi Urrutia has none. So that means that Aaron Telitz really only has 1 or 2 attempts to really get the job done here, but he needs to be within that 1.5 seconds. So question is, can he be close enough coming into turn 1 and into turn 3 here to make something happen?
Yeah, he's hustling Michael Young. Let's take a look at that battle for 4th as they head to turn number 1 with 2 to go.
About 3 car lengths the separation between Santi Urrutia, he's the 4th place driver, and his teammate Aaron Telitz in 5th. They take the same line at the exit of turn number 1. I noticed it about 3 laps ago. Telitz was starting to make the charge a little bit. That was the lap that Santiarutia made the mistake. Let's see if Telitz can close that ground with almost 1 lap to go.
Meanwhile, the leader, Dave, first heads to turn 5 with a lap and a half to go.
It's almost as if he's a back marker. He's got so much space in between himself and the second place running Patricio Award. Further back, then it's Victor Franzoni, and still Aaron Telitz trying to make a play on Santiarutia for 4th.
Colton Herta yesterday didn't seem overly concerned in missing pole. Of course, that's always a driver's goal during qualifying, but he was very calm and collected after getting out of the car in qualifying, and this is probably why, because he was very confident about what kind of a race car he had, and that race car right now, as Dave had mentioned, is well out nearly by his lonesome. He works his way through turn number 10 and now sets up for turn number 11. That was the sound of Pata Award going by. Then it's Victor Franzoni. Then you wait just a little bit before Urrutia, and then Aaron Telitz.
Yeah, only 1 pole position this year for Colton Herta, but certainly, Anders, these are the days that the points pay big.
Oh, yeah, and I think if you'd asked him last year, would he have rather had his 2 wins or his 7 pole positions? I think it's pretty easy. He would have rather swapped those numbers around, and that's exactly what he's worked on all offseason, is just kind of turning that speed into consistency in the races. And has he done a fine job in the last month and a half.
Back up the hill, he's going to see the white flag here at Road America. Colton Herta, the second-generation talent, looking for his 4th straight win as he heads to turn 1 for the final time.
Near perfect season for Colton Herta. Swept the month of May. He will continue into June. Exits turn number 1 for the final time. Colton Herta looking for win number 4 in his 2018 campaign.
Oh, he's just been so smooth in that Deltro Energy Mazda all day today. Navy and white, the colors on that. Of course, George Steinbrenner IV, the co-owner of that car, along with Michael Andretti. They know talent when they see it. And Dave, first, Colton Herta heading to turn 5 for the final time, looking for that 4th win of the season.
Yep, I tell you, for Indy Lights, there are a few racetracks where you want to win and win often. Road America is certainly one of those racetracks. Colton Herta, 1 final lap before Victory Lane here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
A car that is owned under the lineage of championships. And Colton Herta, of course, trying to win one himself, a second-generation driver under his father, Brian Herta, who raced in the Varese on IndyCar Series. Now Colton Herta works his way through turn number 8 and turn number 9. He does not, again, put a wheel anywhere in the wrong spot. It has been a flawless day under a flawless sky here in Road America. Everything sunny so far, Nick, for Colton Herta.
Yep, it's all coming up 98s right now for Colton Herta. The advantage, 3.6 seconds the last time at the line as he makes his way down Kettle Bottoms. It does not look like his teammate Pato Award is going to challenge him. Award's going to salvage the day, though, coming in with a slight points disadvantage. A second-place finish, as good as you can do when that car and that driver of number 98 has been as spot on as he has been. Through turn number 14 for the final time, back up the hill, Colton Herta is going to go 4 for 4 here in the last 4 races in Indy Lights. He'll see the checkered flag and win at Road America. Colton Herta scores the victory here in Elkhart Lake. He'll wave to his team as they sprint out onto pit lane to salute their driver as Herta picks up his 4th win of the season. Pato Award comes home in the 2nd spot, 3.7 seconds behind. Good podium for Victor Franzoni. Starts from pole position. He'll come home in 3rd, 5.5 seconds back. Santiarutia finishes in 4th. Aaron Telitz will finish in the 5th spot. Ryan Norman comes home in 6th. And Dalton Kellett will be relegated to 7th position. Anders, a perfect drive, no doubt about it. What more can you say about a guy like Colton Herta?
Yeah, and just kind of the way that he bided his time when he was trying to catch Victor Franzoni initially and then make that move. I mean, he was aggressive, but he didn't overdrive the car, and he never really had a wheel lockup, and I think that was crucial to everything he was doing. And again, very, very mature performance here for Colton Herta. I think he's going to be very difficult to stop tomorrow under very, very similar circumstances and conditions.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is he will start in row 2 tomorrow with Pato Award and Victor Franzoni on the front rows. So once again, he's going to have to charge his way through the field as it looks like a few victory donuts there.
And I'm hoping for his sake he's not going to have to use those Cooper tires again in the race tomorrow. And he killed the engine. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Colton Herta, Probably not the victory celebration you want to do.
He's rolling through the grass. Someone remind that young man he's got a second race to run tomorrow. Don't damage that race car. To salute the fans that have made their way out to Turn 5. The fan support here at Road America. I was blown away by how many people that were here just on Friday. This event continues to be a success, and you get an opportunity to see future superstars like Colton Herta and Pato Ward. What a treat for these race fans here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant race altogether, and well done there for Colton Herta. I think actually a very mature performance also for Pato Ward to kind of realized that he'd lost the battle there and just kind of settled for second instead of overdriving the car. So I think that was good. And Victor Franzoni, I know that's got to be disappointing. When you start on the pole and you feel like in the test last week you were the dominant driver, it's got to be difficult and a tough pill to swallow. But Andretti Autosport, man, they've done their homework, and they came out swinging today.
So what does this mean in the championship? Colton Herta entered this weekend with a 6-point lead. It will be 12 at the end of today as he gets to 220 points. Pato Ward 12 points back. Santi Urrutia with his fourth-place finish off the podium. He's kind of the big loser as he falls now 33 markers behind Colton Herta as he makes his way through Canada Corner. Of course, a long cool-down lap at a place like Road America before we get a chance to hear from him. Here on IndyCar Radio, coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, it is Verizon IndyCar Series knockout qualifying as Mark Janes and Anders Krohn will be in the booth here to guide us through that, as that's going to be a really competitive session. Seen Joseph Newgarden fast in a couple practice sessions. Robert Wickens, the Canadian driver, was really quick in the practice earlier today. And then, of course, tomorrow, a couple more races. Indy Lights race number 2 coming your way on Sunday at 10:50 Eastern, 10:45 Eastern, 9:45 Central Time here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And then, of course, the Kohler Grand Prix, the main event of the weekend, tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Central Time, as we're going to find out later today who's going to start on the front row of that event. And we see Colton Herta, Anders, has pulled that car into victory lane, a fourth straight win, as we talked about it, a 12-point advantage in the championship. And you know, getting a chance to watch him over the years, he just keeps getting better and better. And this is a guy that really starting to remind some folks of his old man.
And don't discount the amount of pressure he's been under in the offseason. Came into this year, as the championship or one of the championship favorites and really had to put it all together. And I think after the first 2 weekends, it would have been so easy for him to crumble under that pressure when Pato Ward had the upper hand. So for him to be able to turn around his fortunes and come away with the 4 wins in a row now that he has, that is mighty impressive. And it shows kind of how strong his mental state is in the fact that he's able to completely reset his mind as we now see Brian Herta hugging him and giving him congratulations. I mean, yeah, that's very, very impressive.
How about a good Father's Day present 1 week late for Colton Herta to his father, Brian Herta, here in Victory Lane at Road America. And again, as we talked about, he's going to get a chance to go for a 5th straight win tomorrow here in Indy Lights. Let's hear from the race winner who's in Victory Lane with Rob Howden.
Colton Herta, a big win for you here at Road America, continues the streak that you've got going. Let's start with the race itself. You started a little deeper in the field, but man, you were on the move early.
That seems to be our thing this year, not really qualifying that well, but finishing up front. And this is the 4th race that we've won in a row, so we obviously have the package working, and yeah, it's always more fun to come through the field.
You were 3 races in a row coming in. Can you talk a little bit about momentum and maybe the confidence you have with yourself and the team?
Yeah, obviously these things race amazingly. We don't have a lot of aero understeers, so you can stay behind the car closely. And obviously the push to pass helps massively. So it is a proper race car, and you can race in it, and we showed it today. It provides a massive, awesome show.
How about the conditions? Obviously this morning you qualified a lot cooler conditions. How was it here today?
Yeah, they kind of suck today. It's hot, and the track is tough on tires. So it wasn't a good combination. It was all about managing the tires, and in the end, I think you saw like some guys would drop back massively, and some guys could hold their pace. So it was all about holding on the tires.
Great team finish as well. Anybody you want to thank?
Just the whole Andretti Steinbrenner team, Pondurance, Moffitt, Mazda, Cooper Tires, obviously, and yeah, it was a group effort, and I'm just a small piece in it.
Colton, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your winner today, guys, Nick Yeoman, 4 races in a row. Colton Herta winning here at Road America.
Let's hear from second place finishing Pato Ward with Ryan Marine.
Pato right now taking a picture with the
to get the car home. So I'm happy that we ended second place. We're starting on pole tomorrow, so the plan is going to definitely be the win and catch back up in the championship.
What did you learn in today's race that can help you tomorrow?
This track is a big tire eater, so you have to manage those, and I kind of had to push them pretty hard to get by Santi, by Victor, and then I tried to get by Colton, but it wasn't enough. So, just to put that into our memory bank and try and make it a little smoother and better for tomorrow.
P2 today, pole sitter for race number 2 tomorrow. That's Pato Award.
Congratulations to Pato Award, a podium finish along with Victor Franzoni. Everyone, though, looking up at Colton Herta, who scores the win here at Road America. Big thanks to everyone out on the course, including Jake Query, Michael Young, and Dave First. Down on pit lane, it was Rob Howden and Ryan Marine. All the great folks behind the scenes as well. Back in Indianapolis, Chris Pollock and Paul Levitt, and, of course, those here on site, Network General Manager Wally Levitt and Rick Evans in the television compound. Anders Krohn and I will be back tomorrow to call Indy Lights race number 2 at 10:50 Eastern. As for now, stay tuned for IndyCar qualifying, knockout qualifying here from Road America at 4 o'clock Eastern here from Road America. Congratulations to Colton Herta as he wins in Indy Lights.
Again, great to have Cooper Tires here with us, a big partner in the program. This championship certainly starting to heat up in Indy Lights as we get to the mid part of the season. Finishing in second place today for Andretti Autosport. Another round of applause for Pato Award. Pato will be on pole for race number 2. And to bring his trophy in, Mariah Oninsky. Going to bring the P2 trophy in for Pato. He'll start on pole for race 2 tomorrow. A young driver, definitely one to watch. But I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to go on a streak in this series is tough. The competition's so high. Yes, just 7 drivers in the field, but we have some future Verizon IndyCar stars racing in Indy Lights this year. 4 wins in a row, his first here at Road America. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Colton Herta! Colton, one more quick interview. We know we did one for IndyCar Radio, but 4 races in a row. Give me your thoughts now. It's kind of settled in a little bit.
It's massive. The momentum is huge. I think we have a really good package, and it's been working everywhere we go. So, tips to the Andretti Steinbrenner guys. They've done a great job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Get on top of the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is, Colton Herta, one more time for the whole podium. What a run for these young drivers. These are the guys to watch out for. You're going to see them in the Verizon IndyCar Series in a couple years. The future stars today. Big thanks to Jake Van Newland for bringing our trophy, the P1 trophy. Jake handing off a trophy to a driver who could be a future star in Verizon IndyCar Series action. Podium looking good. Our USF 2000 drivers pulling their way out onto the racetrack as well. They'll have their first of 2 races here momentarily. Again, the entire Mazda Road to Indy on display for you this weekend at the Kohler Grand Prix. These young drivers here, though, absolutely impressive. Colton Herta with the win, Pato Award in second, and Victor Franzoni in third.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
The PM18 has a performance level and a drivability that fits it right in between the USF 17 and the Indy Lights car. We've added horsepower to this car to make it more like the Indy Lights car.
This car has a ton of mechanical grip, 6-speed paddle shifters. The cool part is it revs all the way to 9 grand. It's going to be a great platform for the Mazda Road to Indy.
What is the greatest thing you've done outside of a race car?
Oh, actually, I can do a backflip on the ground.
Can you do that right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is gonna be great. Let's see it. This is live. Norman getting ready with the flip. Oh, that was sweet. What's the greatest thing you've done outside of a race car?
Having a good family.
Having a good family.
Yeah, and I miss my family because I'm living here alone. So probably after motorsport, probably after Indy Lights or whatever, it's my family. So that's the greatest thing that I have.
When you're not in a race car, what gives you a headache?
Oh, that is a good question. Probably sometimes when I spend a bit too much time playing.
Indy Lights, and now we're getting ready to go with the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship powered by Mazda. It's round number 6 of the 2018 season, and it's right here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at the beautiful 4-mile-long Road America. We're going to get the starting grid introduced to you guys one by one and let you know how they're lining up. As you see them way stacked up behind me, we're going to tell you how they're going to start round number 6 here at Road America. Kicking things off in the 26th position, driver the number 92, it's one of our rookies, Daniel Frost. Alongside him in the 25th position, starting in the number 38 car, rookie also in the USF 2000 Series, Oscar de Luzaragia. Starting in the 24th position, another rookie in the number 29 car, it's Russell McDonough. As you see that long line of cars go all the way back down pit lane, we move to the 23rd position. Racing out of Grand Junction, Colorado for Bennick in the number 31, it's Miss Sabra Cook. Starting in the 22nd position, rookie in the number 37, starting 22nd, it's David Osborne. Starting ahead of him in the 21st position in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosport, it's Manuel Cabrera. Starting 20th in the number 9, making his return to Mazda Road to Indy Racing, number 9 out of California, Dakota Dickerson. Starting the 19th position, driver of the number 79, receiving driver coaching this weekend from the one and only Shelby Blackstock, it's Jacob Abel, starting 19th. Colin Kaminsky rolls off 18th in the number 27, while Max Peichel starts 17th for Arms Up in the number 14. Mateus Solar Obel rolls off 16th with Pelfrey's Bruna Tomaselli in the number 82, starting 15th. Darren Keene, driver the number 36, rolls off 14th, while round winner Alex Barron, he's been to the top of the podium several times this year, he starts 13th. Jose Sierra for D-Force Racing rolls off 12th in car number 12, and then it's Michael D'Orlando in Kurt Bennick, number 11, driver number 51, starting 11th position. Keith Donegan, number 28, a Mazda scholarship driver, will kick things off for us inside the top 10. Driver the number 28 rolls off in P10. Coming out of the Pacific Northwest in the bright yellow, number 81 for Team Pelfrey, starting 9th, it's rookie Kyle DePel. His teammate Julian Van de Vat in the number 80 starts off just ahead of him in the 8th position. Another D-Force Racing entry starting 7th in car number 11. It's Corey Enders. For Pabst Racing in the number 22, Lucas Cole rolls off 6th, while Igor Fraga in the number 91 kicks things off inside the top 5. Now to the front 2 rows we go. For Pabst Racing in the number 24, starting on the outside of row number 2 in 4th position, it's Kalen Frederick. Alongside of him in the number 21, starting on the inside of row number 2, driver of the number 21 second-year racer on the Mazda Road Indy, Calvin Ming. And now to the front row of our 6th round here at Road America. Championship point leader coming into the weekend, driver the number 8 for Cape Motorsports, starting in 2nd position, rookie Kyle Kirkwood. And leading the field to the green flag here at Road America for the 6th round of racing here in 2018, driving that pure black race car for Pabst Racing in the number 23, scoring the pole and the $1,000 that goes along with it. Leading him to the green flag here today, it's Rasmus Lind. That's your field of 26 cars for the 6th round of 2018. It is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship powered by Mazda. So, folks, as you see that live look of all 26 of our USF 2000 drivers that are lined up here on pit lane, and we are getting ready to go racing. Of course, we're at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin this weekend, and a major partner of the Mazda Road Indy presented by Cooper Tires, our friends at Elite Engines. They have supplied us with great power throughout the Mazda Road Indy season this year, and today they supply us with our honorary starter. We're getting ready to get the command to go fire the engines to go racing, but before we do that, we want you guys to look one more time at this long line of race cars here on pit lane. 26 of them are about to head out onto the track to do battle. Again, Rasmus Lind and Kyle Kirkwood, your front row. Calvin Ming and Kalen Frederick, row 2. Igor Fraga and Lucas Cole, row number 3. Corey Enders, Julian Vandervaart, Kyle DePel, and Keith Donegan, your top 10. So once again, we'd like to thank Elite Engines, and we'd like to welcome Sam Baldwin of Elite Engines as he gives us those most famous words in racing.
On behalf of everyone at Elite Engines, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
It's time to go Mazda Road to Indy Racing, round number 6 of 2018, coming to you next here in the USF 2000 Championship. We're going to go upstairs now to Rob Howden.
Thank you so much, Tony. And indeed, 26 young drivers of the very first rung of this Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Again, the scholarship at the end of the road for these drivers, the champion winning over $350,000 that he or she will take to the Pro Mazda Championship next year, following in the footsteps of drivers like Oliver Askew. Kyle Kirkwood, that's the shot of him there in the number 8 for the USF 2000 juggernaut Cape Motorsports. They've got the last 7 championships. Kyle Kirkwood leading the points coming in here, a very talented young driver who cut his teeth in karting, was a national level karter, one of the top ranked drivers in national karting by ekartingnews.com. And not surprising, coming here and being so good. Last year winning the F4 U.S. Championship, transitioned into the Mazda Road to Indy, putting full focus, the full target on the Verizon IndyCar Series. And, of course, like all 26 of these drivers, just starting their journey here on the first rung of this amazing ladder program. Rasmus Lind has truly been the surprise of the weekend. A talented driver, first year in the series. Top 5 last year, the CIK World Karting Championships. The young Swede with a ton of natural talent. But, of course, coming here for the first time, you've got to get used to it because we really do throw them to the wolves early. They run the streets of St. Petersburg. Those concrete-lined walls running around that racetrack, so tough, so perilous. He had a good run there. We moved to the Barber Motorsports Park Track for Pro Mazda, not for USF 2000 this year. Their second race was actually the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then Rasmuth and the rest of the field getting challenged for the first time at Lucas Oil Raceway, an oval, 5/8 mile banked oval, and Rasmuth doing well there, qualifying second. 2 pole positions here, though, for Rasmuth for Pabst Racing, Eric Mueller, and here's this young driver facing what will be his biggest challenge thus far of his first-year racing career.
Absolutely. You talk about daunting racetracks. This is certainly one of them. There is so much history here, no different than Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Road America has so much history, certainly to the series as well as to the Mazda Road to Indy ladder. And to win here puts a feather in any driver's cap. But to do it, it's always going to be difficult. Conditions, as you were just on pit lane as well, it's hot today. It's in the 80-degree range track temperature. rising by the minute as we get into the mid-afternoon sun here at Road America. And tires are going to be at a premium with these Cooper tires. You got to be mindful not to burn your tires up early on in this one.
Well, when we started the Indy Lights race, it was 74 degrees track side and 106 track temp. So, as you said, we're another, hour down from that. We're likely to the low 80s. Very warm day. And as you said, you and I have talked before about the different pavement, the different asphalt here at the track, how the drivers have to manage going from new asphalt to old asphalt, and impressive the way they're going to be able to handle it. They were so good in qualifying, but it's always a little different when we're talking about wheel-to-wheel race competition. This is when they're not just trying to find a fast lap, but instead trying to work their way forward. And again, we saw in the Indy Lights race so many great opportunities to overtake at this track, whether it's down into turn number 5 or coming into the hurry downs or coming through Kettle Bottoms to Canada Corner or turn 1. There's just so many opportunities. The one difference from Indy Lights, they don't have the push to pass. They have to work to set a pass up. They got to get into the slipstream, and they've got to make that deep braking maneuver to get inside a driver and steal that apex.
Racecraft is certainly critical here. You talk about maybe showing yourself a little bit in the mirror, to the left, to the right. You kind of get into the driver in front of you, into his head a little bit. You force a mistake into the corner. It's real easy to brake too late into turn 5, into turn 8, into turn 14. Make that mental mistake. You get too far off. You drop 2 wheels off in the dirt going up the hill to 6. There's so many things that you as a driver can make a mistake on here. To win here, you've got to be almost perfect. And these drivers are learning that as part of the ladder system. These cars adapt very well to Road America, especially with these Cooper tires. Let's see a couple cars with stickers, a lot of cars with scuffs on. Couple of heat cycles in these tires trying to make them last a little bit longer.
And again, remember last year it was rookie Renus VK for Pabst Racing that swept the weekend. Pabst has been very strong here all weekend long thus far, and they've got drivers in 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. Now, one driver to watch deeper in the field, the veteran Alex Barron for Swan RJB Motorsports, starting 13th in that silver and gold number 19 machine. Watch for him to try to work his way forward. I talked to his engineer earlier. They found an issue with the setup pad. They are going to try to push forward for Alex Barron. Again, drivers lining up 2 by 2. Lint and Kirkwood on the front row. It'll be the Swede on the inside, the Floridian on the outside. Not sure what Lint's doing right now. He's pushed over to the side of Kirkwood. Kirkwood will slot along beside him now. A little gamesmanship early. Kirkwood's going to try to squeeze him back over a little bit. Look at them just trying to get this thing on the clutch, getting them back rolling. Nice formation up the hill. Lint and Kirkwood, row 1. Ming and Frederick, row 2. Fraga and Cole, row 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we are underway here with USF 2000. Chip Summers from Elite Engines giving us the green flag. And we are green, 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 racing down into turn number 1, side by side. Kirkwood on the outside. Lint on the inside. How do they come through? Kirkwood with the lead from the outside of row number 1. What a start for Kyle Kirkwood. Side by side, had that outside line and is able to come across the bow from left to right. He leads as they come out of turn number 3 for the first time. Field working their way through under the the Briggs and Stratton Bridge. Now here comes the Sargento Bridge between turns 3 over to 5. Little kink turn 4, and they'll take their first run down into turn number 5 now. Kirkwood with a good jump. Your point leader has won 3 races thus far this year. Like Colton Herta looking for race win number 4. Can they get through? Oh, a little contact there. One of the D-Force drivers getting moved out of the way. Another block coming up the run to turn number 6. One of those Team Pelfrey cars coming over a little bit, I believe, on Corey Enders. Finally, coming through turn number 7. Eric, it took a while, but I think we're close to being front to back into single file.
Yeah, through hurry downs into turn 7 and into turn 8 into the carousel. Field slowly starting to kind of spread out of just a little bit. Lap 1 always a little hairy here at Road America just because of the start. You're tightly bunched up together. Turn 1 is always the concern. Turn 5 on that first lap is always the concern. Now into the carousel. Now these drivers can kind of settle in, get into a little bit of rhythm, learn the racetrack, learn the line. That's going to change a little bit with the tire temperature, with all the different compounds of rubber on the racetrack for the weekend. This track is quite a bit different than what they had in qualifying as well as in practice over the course of the last 2 days.
Yeah, agreed. Here they come through Canada Corner for the first time. A pretty good battle there further back. I want to say that is the number 28 of Keith Donegan for BN Racing battling it. Oh, there's that's Colin Kaminsky, the 27. And driver off. Coming up through turn 13, 3 drivers off, one potentially not into the wall. They almost collide on the grass trying to get back onto the racetrack here. One of them a Pelfrey car. I'll try to get the ID on that car. Hard to see. One for sure a Pelfrey. We'll get them as they come back up the hill. Everyone cross, start, finish now, trying to figure out which drivers were involved. They'll rocket their way back down to turn number 1. Kirkwood with that lead. Here they come now.
And Cole.
That's the 22, indeed, of Lucas Cole on the podium last year for Pabst Racing. Man, that was an odd off there, Eric, to be able to come up the hill like that and essentially go straight off the racetrack. Just kind of missed the apex and potentially got out into the marbles.
In the Verizon IndyCar Series, we've had 2 cars go off in 13 just with a little bit of the apex entry to that corner at the top of the hill. You're cresting the hill in 13 and then making a hard turn to the left just a little bit. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but that crest of the hill really upsets the balance of these cars. You kind of be mindful of that, getting back onto the throttle real early on apex exit.
And for all intents and purposes, those of you maybe have never driven here before, it's a blind corner because you're coming up over, you're trusting that the apex is over the hill. You got to get that car pointed in the right direction. Big group of drivers a little further back. Kirkwood came across the line with a 7/10 of a second advantage over Rasmus Lind. He had 1.1 seconds back to Kalen Frederick, 2 seconds then back to Keith Donegan, who's moved from 10th up into the 4th position. The BN Racing driver Keith Donegan, the Irish pilot, now up into 4th. Igor Fraga running in 5th. That's, of course, across the line here for Exclusive Autosport. Calvin Ming in 6th, Julian Vanderwatt in 7th, Corey Enders 8th, Kyle Dupel 9th, and Jose Sierra rounding out the top 10. Alex Barron getting a couple spots early. He's up into the 11th position. Again, I'm wondering whether or not the Swan RJB guys were able to make a change and dial that car in for Alex Barron. 2 times a winner already this year. Started in the 13th spot. He'll be on the attack for sure, trying to get himself back and going. And indeed, there he is now as they come up the hill. He's going to work on Kyle Dupel for 9th position. So indeed, Alex Barron in the number 19, the French driver, is on a roll now, trying to work his way back into the top 10.
Top 5 or 6 really spread out a little bit. But then you get to a tight grouping of about 8 or 9 cars through the middle of the top 10, all the way back to about 20th. That field really just bunched up now. We've got a couple of battles here deep in the pack. Looks like Solar Opal trying to make a move as well and get D'Orlando getting around Solar Opal, middle of the pack.
And that right there going into turn number 1 was a great move for Corey Enders, the driver for D-Force Racing out of Sugar Land, Texas, in the number 11 machine going around the outside of Igor Fraga. Got a good run coming up the hill. Fraga moved to the inside to defend, and they went 2x2 down into turn number 1, and Enders getting full advantage of the exit speed he had coming out of turn number 14, and of course takes the lead, or takes the position rather, going into turn number 1. So count Enders now into the top 5 as it's Kirkwood, Lint, Fedrick, Donegan, and now Enders. 4 different teams represented within the top 5 here in USF 2000.
Great battle. Really that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all tightly bunched together through turn 6. That's a corner that's blind as well in 6. It's an incredibly good passing opportunity, but it's very difficult to pull off just because of the tight apex. It's a little bit tighter than race is a little bit tighter than a 90-degree apex, and you're just squeezing on the throttle just a little bit. If you get hung up on the inside, it's really difficult to make a pass there. But that opens up to turn 7, where you're almost flat out with these cars. With the wings, the arrow, it'll allow you to kind of skip through turn 7.
Driver around, coming through the carousel. Someone hanging it out there, the carousel. We had a driver who looped the car, almost finished and almost out of the corner, but just was trying to get rolling the throttle a little too early when they had too much steering input in the wheel. So hopefully we can get a camera shot back to the carousel once again, as that driver did go around. Everyone else staying to the inside. The nice thing about that corner, if you do go around, you're not going to come back to the inside. You're definitely going to the outside of the track. Another driver having trouble coming through turn number 12, Canada corner, off the racetrack. Of course, we'll see as they come across the stripe down in turn 13 who's falling down the order. Kirkwood resets fast lap of the race, and then Frederick takes it back away. So Kalen Frederick closing up to within 2.1 seconds.
Car of the gravel at turn 10, a little bit further on beyond that right now into the carousel. So
Sabre,
one car.
I want to say it was Sabre Cook in the number 31. Indeed it was. It looked like a white and blue car. I didn't want to jump the gun, but Sabre Cook, the driver going around. I believe that's probably her, yeah, on the outside of that corner in the gravel trap, and indeed full course yellow. Sabre Cook, the number 31, the young lady out of Grand Junction, Colorado for Team Bennick, just lost the rear of that car, trying to roll on the throttle a little too much. And just as that was happening, you were talking about how tough turn 7 is. And I was going to say that's one of those corners I think that people don't give enough respect to in terms of it being one of the tougher corners. I talked to Pato Award. He says that's the hardest corner on this racetrack because you're just dancing on the ragged edge. You want to roll that throttle in, but you've got to kind of pull it back a bit because you know that you're just right on the edge trying to get down to turn number 8.
Well, it's the run down the hill from 7 to 8, hurry down's incredibly important because it does set you up for the run into the carousel. So you've got to carry as much momentum through the center of 8 to get into the carousel. And when you are, offline just a little bit like we saw in the carousel, it's really easy to drop that left rear off to the outside. You get into the marbles, you get into the gray stuff, and it's really easy to swap ends on the car. So clearly, that whole section of racetrack, there's not a lot of twisty bits to Road America, but you go from 5 to 10, that section of racetrack is incredibly difficult to be able to manage your tires and manage your position relative to center off, apex off.
And that thing about the carousel, which I think is so important, as we said, you get in there and you're feeding at the wheel. We talked to Parker Thompson on the Indy Lights broadcast. You're able to get the throttle back on when you start opening up the wheel. When you're able to try to get out past the apex and you're trying to go to your exit point, the problem was Sabre looked like she may have pushed a little wide. When you're pushing wide, you got to feed more wheel back into it to get the car back online to get back to your exit point. And if she was on too much throttle, that's when the car kinds of snap around on you.
Yeah, it's a snap loose condition because you're fighting understeer.
Yep.
You're fighting, and then the car gets grip, and then the reaction to come back to the other side, sometimes opposite lock, makes a big difference.
No damage to the car at all, of course, being able to pull her out of the gravel trap deep enough to do its job and that slow her down before she gets to the tire barriers. I would expect they'll bring this back out. She'll refire it and bring it back to pit lane. Crew will go over the car, get all the gravel out of the radiator inlets, and potentially get Sabre back on the racetrack. Rookie driver here in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, powered by Mazda. Again, as we do each and every race, we want to give a shout-out to everybody tuning in on the Mazda Road to Indy app on your mobile device or through roadtoindy.tv. Let's give you a full field rundown as we're sitting here with 9 laps to go on a full course yellow. Kyle Kirkwood leading the way in the number 8 machine. Rasmus Lind, who started pole, in second. Kaylin Frederick, the driver out of Maryland, in third for Pabst Racing. Keith Donegan from Ireland in the BN Racing number 28 runs in fourth. Corey Enders, after getting around Igor Fraga, now up into the 5th spot. Fraga 6th. Julian Vanderwatt from South Africa in the Team Pelfrey number 80 in 7th. Calvin Ming in 8th. Jose Sierra for D-Force Racing in 9th. Alex Barron will take advantage of this. He's in 10th position, started 13th. He'll be able to get that field bunching back up. Watch for Barron to grab a couple spots here on the restart. Kyle Dupel out of Portland, Oregon in 11th. Darren Keene from Florida now up into the 12th spot. Good start for Darren Keene, again, like Barron, taking full advantage of the field being stacked back up again. And then we'll see Michael D'Orlando in 13th. Dakota Dickerson, his return to the series, running with Arms Up Motorsports here this weekend in the number 9. Dakota did a couple of races last year to start the season. Colin Kaminsky in the number 27 and 15th. Mateus Solar Obel, the young 16-year-old family-run team, number 5, running in 16th. Another family team, Abel Racing. Jacob Abel, the number 79, in 17th. Manuel Cabrera from Mexico for Exclusive Autosport in 18th. Max Peichel for Arms Up Racing, Motorsports rather, in the number 14 in the 19th spot. Russ McDonough for BN Racing in 20th. David Osborne for Newman Walks Racing in 21st. David Frost, his debut weekend here in the USF 2000 program, running with Exclusive Autosport, the 16-year-old from Singapore in 22nd. Oscar De La Zuriaga in 23rd. Bruno Tomaselli 24th. Lucas Cole in the pit in the number 22 after the incident over in turn number 12. And Sabre Cook back underway. Hopefully we'll see Sabre get back onto the racetrack. So, Eric, there's your full field rundown. 26 great drivers here at the very start of this Mazda Road to Indy adventure, USF 2000. Stack them back up. Looking like about 8 laps remaining here in this first race of the doubleheader.
Yeah, you look at restarts single file here, so it's not quite as chaotic as an initial start, but still, this is the opportunity, and we know that Barron is a monster on restarts here, and this is a restart on a track that suits his driving style very well. Already up 3 spots from the 13th starting position up to the top 10. For Barron right now, he's got to make sure that he times this restart correctly to try to jump around and get position going into turn 1. It's very difficult to do that with a single file restart here on occasion, just simply because that leader has the ability to kind of stretch out or leg out a little bit in front of you. So as the leader brings the field down underneath that Verizon bridge and up to the Chevrolet Starters Bridge here at Road America, you really want to make sure that you're almost 5-6 rows deep. You're just trying to make sure that you're minding the tires a little bit, clean them up a little bit, and make sure that you're timing the start just right to the restart zone.
We've seen guys be very aggressive here on starts. Not a restart, but a start. I remember Dakota Dickerson started at the tail of the field after breaking a half shaft in qualifying. I think he passed 8 drivers before they got down to hurry downs. He went around the outside of turn number 1, the inside down to turn 3. I think the inside and a couple of guys in turn number 5, and got 2 guys going up the hill into turn number 6, and 1 to the inside of turn 7. It was an amazing opening lap, but that plays to what you're talking about, this track and the long straightaways. And if you get someone out of shape and block it to the inside, you block to the inside in turn 3, you've ruined it in turn number 5. So if you can get in the guy's head in front of you, you get moving forward, he gets a bit frantic, you can find spots, and I would expect to see Alex Barron try to capitalize here again. Started 13th. We'll restart here from 10th. There'll be, I believe, 7 laps to go on what it was scheduled to be a 12-lapper, 7 laps remaining, and we're going to go back to green. Top 3 drivers on nose to gearbox, as you can be guaranteed there's going to be a challenge for the lead coming in. Drivers already jumping out quick. Couple drivers into the grass already. This is not going to be good coming back onto the racetrack. Couple of drivers jumping early when the green flag flew. Not sure what happened there, but guys further back getting the call to go green, and there was a bunch of them. We're 3 wide all the way down into turn number 1. Hold on, folks. 3 wide. Leaders stretching away. Look at that, 3 wide all the way through. Almost 4 wide as they're going to use the inside of the racetrack. Can they get through? That's asking a lot for these young drivers in this program. Coming down under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge to turn number 3.
Restart is under review.
Not a surprise at all. I don't know what was going on further back there. These guys all jumping out to the side. They must have been told green on the radio. Again, they will review it, as Eric told you. That was chaotic. But kudos to these guys for getting through 1, 2, 3, 4, and now racing down here into 5. Who is your leader coming to turn number 5? Still Kirkwood. So those front 3 drivers remaining exactly where they are. Kirkwood, Lint, Frederick, right there, 1, 2, 3. Still 2 wide, almost 3 wide coming up the hill to turn number 6.
Ming underneath a little bit of pressure here.
Saw that. Getting pressured again coming through turn number 6 as well now. Turn 7's where they really start to get back into line. Such a tough corner. Those drivers trying to really maximize the grip on the outside of that corner down to the heartbreaking hurry downs. A couple of Pelfrey drivers battling it out there as well. I'm going to say potentially Julian Vanderwatt and Kyle Dupel, 10th and 11th. And again, another run through the carousel. Drivers, again, minding the grip levels as they try to roll back on the throttle. And again, such an important exit from the carousel. You can't really overspeak it, Eric. You've got to get out of the carousel quickly with good exit speed to maximize down to the end of the kettle bottoms.
Absolutely. We saw one of the Pelfrey cars make a little bit of a very evasive move to the left, heading out of turn 10, going a little bit narrower on the apex to the kink, and cost a little bit of momentum, and then under pressure got pushed wide now into turn 12. So just changing your racing line a little bit changes or affects the way that you take the next corner here. Momentum, all about this racetrack. It's a very rhythm-based racetrack, and getting off rhythm, out of sequence, pulled off. And
driver to pit lane. Someone coming into pit lane here now. One of the white USF 2000 cars, potentially mid-pack. It's not popping up for us here who could be in pit lane on live timing. We'll tell you when they follow us here.
I believe. No, excuse me.
Michael D'Orlando, potentially. Yeah, Michael D'Orlando in the Bennick. Tough day here for Bennick. D'Orlando showed great speed early. He now falls down to what will likely be 24th. Sabre Cook 26. She is not retaken to the track, I believe. So again, Michael D'Orlando, the number 51, off track.
Car looks like there's slowing in turn 3, coming to corner entry. and there's a wing possibly on the racetrack. So we've had some debris. There's the car there.
Yeah, it looks like potentially one of the exclusive Autosport cars, either Daniel Frost or Manuel Cabrera. So I think one of the exclusive Autosport black and red machines, those trademark colors for the A-team. Exclusive
Cabrera.
Autosport, as it was Cabrera.
In the 90.
Tough one for Manuel Cabrera, losing that front wing, as Eric had mentioned, coming down to turn number 3. Again, close quarters racing, of course, here with these cars. These spec USF 2000 cars, brand new race car, brand new Tatis chassis that was debuted last year. Of course, Rinus VK coming in as a rookie, doing such a tremendous job for Pabst Racing, scoring 2 victories on his way to second overall in the championship. What a battle there. I'm liking that fight. A little further back, I think that's Kyle Dupel and Dakota Dickerson. Indeed, that's the fight now for 10th or 11th spot. Alex Barron moving his way up to 8th, as we said, on charge early. Alex Barron now trying to go to work on Calvin Ming in the number 21. Barron still in the championship chase, but it is your point leader, Kyle Kirkwood, looking to win again. Coming off a big victory. There goes Dakota Dickerson off. He's going to try to get to the inside. 2 wide more coming through there, using all the racetrack on the exit of Canada Corner. But the fight further back, Darren Keene, Max Peichel, Julian Vanderwatt, Russ McDonough, all 2x2 coming out of turn number 12. They are definitely testing track limits here, Eric, and using all of the exit on turn number 14 as well.
A lot of battles mid-pack again. Solar Oval, Dupel, Dickerson. A little bit of a torrid battle there going into turn 1. Kirkwood, though, setting the pace right now. A 1.4 second gap back to second. Lind, Frederick, and Donegan, your top 4 as they're running here. Coming to just past the 5 to go at the stripe, Rob. This is the time where you start pushing a little bit harder. You kind of saving the tires for the first initial 5-6 laps, and then you want to try to start pushing harder here. So Kirkwood needs to mind the gap. But if you're Lind or Frederick, maybe the time is now to go.
I think all the way through the field, you're going to see exactly that. Some drivers may have been taking it easy a bit. There's a bit of a slide for Jose Sierra on the exit of turn number 5. That's going to allow Mateus Solar Oval to be able to slot through. That's for 9th position, so count Solar Oval up into 9th. Impressive season thus far for the rookie. Family-run team rolling in here with a 24-foot trailer and getting the job done into the top 10. And there's Alex Barron, another spot. Barron able to get by Calvin Ming, I believe, and maybe even by Igor Fraga. Barron potentially could be into 6th position here. Alex Barron, the driver on the charge. I want to say that Calvin Ming, I think, got by Fraga, and then Barron by Fraga as well. So I'm going to say, based on just what we could see coming out of the carousel, Calvin Ming's moved his way up to 6th, Barron to 7th, Fraga back to 8th, Solar Oval now in 9th, and Jose Sierra 10th. Kirkwood managing a pretty solid little advantage here now, as Eric had said, knocking out the laps here. It'll be 4 to go when they come back a stripe. There's contact there. 2 drivers together coming through Canada Corner. An aggressive move to the inside. Sierra gets into the side of Solar Oval. Man, gloves are off, elbows up here, Eric, over the last couple of laps as Sierra got into the side of Solar Oval, coming through the exit, the apex, potentially, of Canada Corner.
Sierra definitely up on the wheel, just trying to wheel that car through the corner. A little bit of a crazy midway through this USF 2000.
Pretty aggressive, I think Solar Oval made a really good move to get the pass up at turn number 5. Sierra obviously was not so much was happy with the move, but not losing the position. And man, aggressive into Canada Corner to get that position back. 1.6 now the advantage for Kyle Kirkwood as he has stretched it out again about last couple of laps, I'd say, holding on to a 1.4 to 1.6 advantage. Almost identical lap time to Kalen Frederick. As what has happened to Rasmus Lent? He's down to 5th. Didn't see that on the screen, but Rasmus Lent had trouble on the racetrack. Kalen Frederick goes by. Frederick, Donegan, and Enders all by. Rasmus Lent started on pole. He has now fallen to 5th position. So the young Swede back to P5. And look out who comes charging. Alex Barron, P7, started 13th. He's moved up 6 spots. Barron now into 7th, going to work on Calvin Ming for Pabst Racing.
Still a local yellow in turn 3. They brought the local yellow back out. Looks like they're trying to get the car behind the wall to not affect the rest of the race. So at this point, they're still trying to move the car of Cabrera behind the barrier. And once that is cleared, then turn 3 will go back to green.
Obviously, the key thing for these young drivers is track time. We want to give them as much as possible. And if the race direction crew here for the Mazda Road Indy can do anything to get the car off track and keep it green, they'll do so. And I like that because these young drivers need as much track time as possible. Good fight coming down into Canada corner as well. That's that battle for, I believe, 4th and 5th. Indeed, that is Rasmus Lint trying to get back by Corey Enders. And look at this fight again. Here's Darren Keene. Keene on the roll. He's having a good run here. Now up into the 10th spot. Tough qualifying for Darren Keene, a brand new engineer at Newman Walks Racing here this weekend. John Hayes taking over the engineering controls, and you got to give him a little leeway to get a feel for the team, a feel for the car. And Keene making it happen here. He has worked his way now up into the top 10. Keene able to stretch away a little bit coming down here from Mateus Solar-Obel. He'll need guys to race in front of him to get another spot, though, because he's quite a ways back, but still a solid run. There's Rasmus Lint to the inside of turn number 1. Book it. Lint to the inside of Corey Enders. He goes back to P4.
Enders struggling a little bit with a little bit of oversteer in 12 through Canada corner. Really lost a lot of momentum through 13. And then in 14, the end result is a pass down to the end of turn 1.
And here comes Calvin Ming and Alex Barron as well. Those 4 drivers, Lint, Ming, Barron, and Fraga, or rather Enders, Lint, Ming, and Barron, all 4th through 7th, are going to be nose to tail coming down into turn number 5. Watch for Barron to get aggressive. In fact, look to the outside. I think it's Ming to the inside and Enders to the outside. He's going backwards. You're right.
Enders really struggling with some lateral grip with those rear Cooper tires.
And at that point, they do what they can with the tools inside the car to try to change the setup just a little bit. And there's only so much you can do. You get to the front or back of that window, and you're locked and loaded. So at this point, if he's all the way to the one end of the spectrum in terms of onboard tuning, Enders is going to have to do it himself. He'll have to take care of it. He'll have to wheel this thing to try to hold back a couple of very good veteran drivers in Calvin Ming and Alex Barron. Of course,
incident down in turn 7 and 8 through Hurry Downs.
We'll hopefully have a look at that, find out what happened there. More drivers moving forward. As we said, Michael D'Orlando out, Lucas Cole, Sabre Cook, Manuel Cabrera, Julian Vanderwatt out as well.
Sabre Cook sounds like another incident in turn between 7 and 8 in the bottom of Hurry Downs.
So Sabre Cook got back out of the racetrack, but an issue for her, obviously a balance issue on that car. She's been struggling. An issue first in the carousel and now down into the Hurry Downs of turn number 8, which really is, you're trying to hustle it through there. You talked about how important that corner is to get out of turn number 8, Eric, and get over to the carousel. And anytime I've raced here, man, you're rolling it in there, but you're trying to get back on power quickly.
Full course yellow, fairly significant impact, sounds like, for Cook.
So trouble, as Eric has said, for Sabre Cook down in potentially turn number 8. We'll try to have a look at it here. Yeah, actually, that's actually coming down like she may have had some trouble coming through turn 7, Eric, and potentially got crossed up a little bit. She's getting out of the car, which is great news. We can see from our screen here, there's Sabre Cook climbing out of the car. Rear damage, significant damage to the left rear, the rear wing. And you got to think, Eric, coming out of turn number 7, you know that when you get out there, we've talked about how tough that is. Up on the rumbles, potentially dropping a wheel and spinning that thing around.
From what they said is Cook was 4 wheels off to driver's left, coming off exit to 7, pushed it wide, car hopped in the grass, turned dead stick to the right, and you'll see a little bit of debris there over on the right-hand side. You'll see the impact mark right there. So you'll see the skid marks just to the right of your screen there, and turned around and then backed it in with the left rear, took out the WeatherTech sign on the driver's right-hand side down to the tree, what would be the drop at the C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex just before entry to turn 8 here in Hurry Downs. So that is a unfortunate incident, likely going to end this race on the yellow.
I was just going to say, I'm looking out at Paul Blevins on the starter stand now, waiting for him to pull that checker out because we only have 2 laps remaining in this race. And, again, that is significant impact. You're not going to tow her anywhere at this point because she's far away from an access point as it is. But at this point, I got to say we're going to be close to wrapping this one up with Kyle Kirkwood cruising by the field. seeing the incident for the first time with the AMR safety team there. Kirkwood, your leader. Frederick in second. Donegan third. Rasmuth Lint in fourth. Corey Enders in fifth spot. Calvin Ming in sixth. Alex Barron seventh. Igor Fraga in eighth. Jose Sierra ninth. And Darren Keene rounding out the top 10. Again, expecting to see us going to a checkered flag here at start-finish. Just don't see them able to get this mess cleaned up and getting back to green. Now, if they could, they'd try. I guarantee you that. We still have time to go. It's a 12-lap race, but 40 minutes is the time window. But just 2 laps remaining. So, again, they would come around here and still get the white flag, and then we would go checker next time by. So, for all intents and purposes, your point leader, Kyle Kirkwood, will extend his lead after race number 1 of the doubleheader here at Road America.
Certainly got the hop on that restart.
I'm just looking at the names of the drivers up front. Kyle Kirkwood, Kalen Frederick, and Keith Donegan. Kyle, Kalen, and Keith on the podium here today. A couple of Americans and an Irish driver. Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida. Frederick from Potomac, Maryland. And Donegan from Ireland. His first podium finish here in Mazda Road to Indy competition. Rasmuth Lint, the Swede, in fourth. And the Texan Corey Enders, the young American driver in the number 11, will likely finish in fifth. Having a look as they come back up the hill here. And again, it will be the white flag being displayed, white and yellow at start finish. Man, we saw some great action. There's no doubt about that. Kyle Kirkwood got a great start, able to get around the outside of Rasmuth Lint heading into turn number 1. And again, Kyle adding to the resume his 4th win of the season, which will be official next time they get around here. Keith Donegan moving up aggressively from 10th. Strong run for him to P3. Alex Barron from 13th up into the 7th spot as well. Darren Keene up into the top 10. Good run for Darren Keene today. Looks like we'll have, 23 finishers, as Lucas Cole was indeed able to get that car repaired and back out onto the racetrack.
See, Julian Vanderwatt, his front wing is what came off and may have precipitated the mechanical issue for Cabrera in turn 3. So Vanderwatt losing the front wing on that machine on pit lane.
And tough one for Julian. I said he's been having a good weekend. He'll be looking forward to getting right back at it tomorrow morning when the USF 2000 drivers have their second race, bright and early, 8 o'clock in the morning. He'll want to get back out and show the speed he has, because this has been his best weekend thus far for Julian. But Kyle Kirkwood will be thrilled with this one. Hey, you know what? I'll take the wins any way they come. Kyle Kirkwood, Jupiter, Florida home, running for Cape Motorsports. I think they've won the last 7 driver championships. Powerhouse team here in USF 2000. Got challenged last year aggressively by Pabst Racing and Reynes VK. Winning with Oliver Askew, who now runs with them in the Pro Mazda Championship. A driver circulate under the yellow flag once again. As we said, an incident with Sabre Cook coming out of turn number 7. Going 4 wheels off on the exit. She ends up in the wall on the right side of the racetrack. Damage to the left rear and the rear wing as well. Potentially right rear too. Of course, the contact coming through that left rear. She looped the car around. But again, drivers just circulating around the racetrack. They will see the checkered flag from Paul Blevins here at start finish. We actually had one of our guests who will likely throw the checkered flag. We've had some awesome guests here this weekend, of course, from Cooper Tires and Elite Engines as well. Chip Summers will be up on top of the flag stand with his sons Jack and Will. Give that checkered flag for the 4th time this year to Kyle Kirkwood. Again, extending his point lead. Alex Barron, 2nd place coming in. It's going to tighten things up for sure. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 5th as well. We'll see how it all slots in once the points get locked and loaded. But this is one of these cool-down laps, Eric, that you like. I'm good. Yeah. Yellow flag, checker flag's coming. Kyle Kirkwood feels very good right now.
Especially when you're on the point, right?
That's right. When you're second. Now, Frederick wasn't really in a place, I think, to challenge. If you were second and trying to challenge, it could be a little infuriating when you're setting up for what could be last lap pass, but Kirkwood had developed a nice little advantage over by about 1.5 seconds. But this will be the fourth time that Kyle Kirkwood will taste the champagne, or apple cider as it is, sparkling apple cider for drivers at USF 2000. Again, checker flag being thrown as Kirkwood comes across the line. Liking that, your race winner. Kalen Frederick in second, Keith Donig in third. There's your podium. Rasmus Lint, the pole sitter, ends up in fourth. Corey Enders in the fifth spot. Calvin Ming in sixth. Alex Bear in seventh. Igor Fraga eighth. Jose Sierra ninth. And Darren Keene rounding out your top 10. The opening race of the doubleheader for the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, powered by Mazda.
Kohler Grand Prix weekend continues here at Road America. Plenty of racing action yet. Pro Mazda up next at 2:05. We'll also have a podium celebration for this USF 2000, powered by Mazda. Cooper Tires USF 2000 will join Tony Laporta down at the podium once the leaders come back down. And, of course, our pre-race for Pro Mazda coming up as well this afternoon. We'll go qualifying with the Verizon IndyCar Series at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Pirelli World Challenge from 4:35 to 5:35. That is a 50-minute time sprint race for Pirelli World Challenge combined GT, GTA, GT Cup, as well as GTS and GTSA, the A standing for amateur competitors. So Pro and Am competition at Pirelli World Challenge. That race going green shortly after 4:35. Welcome to all the Kohler associates here this weekend for the Kohler Grand Prix. Great to have you out here at this wonderful race facility. A lot of friendly and familiar faces over the years here at Road America as well, from short track drivers enjoying the fun in the sun today. Welcome to the big track. But great to have everyone here this weekend. Beautiful day. Sunshine is out. Temperature in the 80s. And a great race scheduled for tomorrow. The Verizon IndyCar Series Kohler Grand Prix. Going to be a fantastic day. Drivers, start your engines right around 12:05 tomorrow afternoon. We'll start bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. with these same USF 2000 cars. That race from 8 until 8:40 in the morning. We'll then get into our Indy Lights race 2 at 9:50. And then we'll have our opening pre-race festivities starting at about 11 o'clock. We'll wrap up our day with the Verizon IndyCar Series 55-lap Kohler Grand Prix at 12:05. And the very last event of the day, race 2 for the Pirelli World Challenge. And for the GT-GTS combination race, 2:45 tomorrow afternoon. A nice early afternoon to get you on your way home for those of you camping here at Road America. Thanks for being here for the first 2 days. This is day 3 already of this weekend. Day 4 tomorrow. Fantastic weekend already. And we're just past halfway through this weekend. Again, Pro Mazda coming up next at 2:05. We'll have pre-race festivities for Pro Mazda Grand Prix of Road America, presented by Cooper Tires, in just a few moments. We'll also see if we can maybe get into a little bit of our podium celebration down as well in our Victory Lane area here at Road America, where you too can be a part of the celebration. Field just coming down through pit in at this point. They'll come into pit lane behind that Mazda Road to Indy safety car. Beautiful Mazda Soul Red car, by the way. And the field coming into Victory Lane, so where we will get cars pulling into Victory Lane. So we'll stand by, wait for our podium celebrations here from Road America. Podium celebration just about ready to start down there, but Kohler Company welcomes you to Road America as the title sponsor of the 2018 Kohler Grand Prix and longtime supporter of motorsports. We salute your passion and enthusiasm. Enjoy the races. You're invited to nearby destination Kohler, where shopping, golfing, dining, and relaxation await, or visit us online at Kohler.com to explore our kitchen and bath products, engines and power systems, premier cabinetry and tile, and more. Road America would also like to recognize our 2018 season corporate partners, Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Road America, Yamaha, the official motorcycle of Road America, and the official UTV of the corporate team building programs. Our food and beverage partners, Johnsonville, Sargento, Cheese, Pepsi, and Lakeside Bottling, Anheuser-Busch and Larry's Distributing, Cedar Crest Ice Cream, and the Blind Horse Winery. Skag Power Equipment, the official mower of Road America, which keeps our 640-acre facility looking beautiful. Skag, headquartered in Mayville, Wisconsin. Oshkosh Office Systems, the official business machine supplier of Road America. West Bend Insurance, Sheboygan Chevrolet, sponsors of the Team Driving School. The Gale Company, the official heavy equipment supplier of Road America. Optima Batteries, the official battery of Road America. H&R Spring, the official suspension partner. The official transportation partner is the SS Badger Car Ferry, sailing twice daily from Manitowoc, Wisconsin to Ludington, Michigan. Lake Forest Hearing Professionals, the official hearing partner of Road America. Fire and safety sponsors TNT Rescue Tools, C-Tech, Wheelan Engineering, Safety Clean, and Collins Classic Auto. Sign Me Up, the official signage company of Road America. Milwaukee, the official power tool of Road America. Sunoco, the official race fuel of Road America. Our event entitlement sponsors WeatherTech, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Johnsonville, Hawk Performance, Kohler Company, Aaron's, Torquay Coffee, and Continental Tire. These companies sponsor events throughout the year, and we thank you for your participation and support. Standing by for both podiums and pre-race yet for the Pro Mazda, as well as podiums for the USF 2000 Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Mazda, here at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Thanks for being here on this Saturday.
Again to third place on the podium here today. Keith Donegan finishing third. Aaron Ziegler of Elite Engines helping us out with the trophy. Good run for the Irishman, Keith Donegan, as our Pro Mazda drivers take on to the track for their second race of the weekend. Donegan finishing in third. Aaron, thank you so much for the help. We'll now move to second place on the podium. Finishing in second for Pabst Racing, please welcome Kalen Frederick. Kalen has quite the fan club this weekend, and now we'd like to have Nathan Ziegler present our trophy to second place finisher Kalen Frederick. Nathan is also a guest of Elite Engines. Nathan, thank you so much, brother. Great job. I dig your shirt. I like that look a lot, all right? So we got Donegan in third, Frederick in second. He's your championship point leader coming into the weekend. Odds are he's going to leave with the championship point lead. Your winner of round 6 here at Road America from Cape Motorsports. Please welcome your winner, driver the number 8, Kyle Kirkwood. Kirkwood scores the victory here at round number 6, and to present him with the winner's trophy from Elite Engines, the man that makes the horsepower. Round of applause for Mr. Steve Knapp, our presenter of the winner's trophy today. Kirkwood on top of the podium here at Road America. Race 1 of the weekend is done. These guys have one more to go tomorrow. Steve, thank you so much for the help. So once again, it's Donegan in third, Frederick in second, Kirkwood, your winner. Drivers, let's put the trophies up. Congratulations. And one more big round of applause for our podium finishers here today in round 6.
passed away when he had an incident in his Lola Formula 5000 car. He was 61 years of age. Jeff joined the Pro Mazda Championship last year at the tender young age of 60 years old, showing tremendous skill. He was a driver who absolutely loved the sport, loved the people, and hooked up with Juncos Racing, and he decided he wanted to be part of the Mazda Road to Indy. Juncos was going to actually shut down their Pro Mazda team, but Jeff said, hey, I want to race with you guys, and I need someone beside me. He looked over and said a young driver named Victor Franzoni was the guy that he wanted with him. And the two of those drivers, one 60 years old, one in his just early 20s, became fast friends. And the two of those drivers went to racing each and every weekend. Jeff learned a lot from Victor Franzoni, and, of course, vice versa. Victor would go on to win the championship and now runs into the Indy Lights program, in part so much to the support that he got from Jeff Green. And, of course, we honor Jeff Green this weekend. We celebrate his life, and we have his Pro Mazda car on track to pace the field. His good friend, Peter Dempsey, will drive the number 60 Juncos Racing Pro Mazda that Jeff steered last year so well. And behind him, as we get set to go, Victor Franzoni actually has the number 23 machine, the Mazda Soul Red Scholarship car that he gets to race this year, thanks to the scholarship and thanks to his championship last year with Pro Mazda, and, of course, his long friendship with Jeff Green. Again, Jeff was a very passionate racer, an amazing husband, and an amazing father as well. And as we take the time now to think about our family member who we lost just last weekend, we take time and give tribute to a great racer and a great person. Jeff Green, 61 years of age. Godspeed, my friend. Field now set to go here. 14 drivers in the Pro Mazda Championship. And we have some talented drivers just 2 steps away from the Verizon IndyCar Series. Starting on row number 7 on the outside, in the number 83 for Fat Boy Racing, it's Charles Finelli. On the inside of that row, the young Canadian driver, just 16 years of age, the rookie Antonio Serravalle, the number 91 for Exclusive Autosport. Moving to row number 6, Cape Motorsports on the inside and outside, Russian-born American Nikita Listoshkin, now living in Los Angeles, California, the veteran driver in the Mazda Road to Indy, starting 12th in the number 8. Inside of that row, in the Mazda Soul Red colors, the reigning USF 2000 champion out of Jupiter, Florida, the rookie number 3, Oliver Askew, starting 11th. Moving now to the top 10. Row number 5 on the outside from Payette, Idaho, in the Team Pelfrey number 82, Stingray Robb, starting in the 10th position. Inside of that row, a winner last year in the USF 2000 Championship, a rookie here in Pro Mazda for Juncos Racing out of New York, number 9, Robert McGuinness. Moving now to row number 4 on the outside from England, 2 times a winner this year, last year dominant in the Euro Formula Open Series for RP Motorsports Racing, the number 10 of Harrison Scott, starting in the 8th position. Inside of that row from Monterrey, Mexico, in the number 81 for Team Pelfrey, Andres Gutierrez. Moving now to row number 3, dazzling debut for this young driver from England, 2 times in the top 5 in the BRDC British F3 Championship in 2016 and 2017. He'll start 6th here today for BN Racing. It's Toby Sowery, the rookie, in the number 78. Inside of row number 3, starting in the 5th position, your point leader. Stretched the gap yesterday. He'll look to work his way back to the podium here today. For Exclusive Autosport, the number 90 out of Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, Parker Thompson, starting in the 5th spot. Moving now to row number 2 on the outside. Winner of the first 2 races of the year. He'll start P4 in the Juncos Racing Jumbo sponsor number 2, Renus VK from the Netherlands, starting in 4th. In the 3rd spot, what a run for this driver making his debut here this weekend for RP Motorsports Racing, starting 3rd. Inside of row number 2, Raul Guzman. On the front row, a couple of great young drivers. First, out of Brazil in the number 1 for Juncos Racing, Carlos Cunha, the Brazilian, starting in the P2 position, and the driver starting on the pole, looking to complete the sweep. 2 poles, 2 race wins potentially. 1 yesterday. Can he get another one here today from Chicago, Illinois? It's his home race, folks, for BN Racing. David Malukas, starting the number 79 in P1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go to fire up these engines. And again, I talk about the fact that this family here at the Mazda Road to Indy mourning the loss of Jeff Green just last week. I'm going to pass the mic now over to his former team member, Ricardo Juncos, who will say a few words, and then get these drivers to start their engines.
We would like to dedicate this race in memory of Jeff Green. He was an incredible man and played a huge role in our Juncos racing family. Drivers, start your Mazda engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Engines firing. And again, the tribute, the best we can do for a fallen family member. We give thoughts and prayers to the family of Jeff Green, a tremendous racer, incredible husband, and a fantastic father. Jeff Green, rest in peace, my friend.
So as we start those Mazda engines for the Pro Mazda Grand Prix of Road America, presented by Cooper Tires. And that is on screen right now, Jeff Green's Juncos racing car from last year. And there's a good look at the Mazda Road to Indy official pace car as well. Beautiful soul red Mazda pace car. We are set to go racing here at Road America again this afternoon. And then we'll qualify for the Verizon IndyCar Series coming up just following this session. And then we'll go sports car racing this afternoon at 4:35 as well with World Challenge. Field is being released to the track. This 4-mile race circuit bathed in sunshine and 80-degree temperature, 80 degrees plus here today at Road America. It's a beautiful day for racing, and anytime you're at a racetrack, it's always a beautiful day as well. Right now, about 9-mile-an-hour winds, 57% humidity. And other than a few Bob Ross-style happy clouds, not a lot of them in the sky here at Road America. I want to welcome everyone to the Kohler Grand Prix weekend here at Road America. Our honorary flagger today, Emmanuel Del Cuenca, who was Jeff Green's engineer at Pro Mazda last year with Juncos Racing. And he'll be on the flag stand in just a few moments to wave the green flag for round 9 for 15 laps or 40-minute timed event for the Pro Mazda Grand Prix of Road America presented by Cooper Tires. Field behind the safety car. As well as Jeff Green's two machines in front of the safety car as well. The field comes up underneath the Corvette Bridge. And will work their way through the backside of the racetrack. Form up and go green this time by. When the lights go out, we will go racing for 15 laps for round 9 for Pro Mazda. Again, don't forget to tune into the Marshall Pruitt podcast, The Week in IndyCar, live from Victory Lane at 5:30 tonight. Tony Kanaan, Mike Hull, Joseph Newgarden will be Marshall's guests on the Marshall Pruitt podcast, Week in IndyCar, live from Victory Lane here at Road America later this afternoon. And that would be at the conclusion of our podium celebration for World Challenge as well this afternoon. So it might be just a tad later than that. Now through turn 10, just a few corners away now from going racing again this afternoon from Road America. Welcome to those of you joining us on the Mazda Road to Indy app. My name's Eric Miller. Rob Howden will be back in the booth here momentarily. Greg Creamer also here with us this weekend. He'll be calling World Challenge races with me this afternoon. Kelvin Fish will also join us perhaps for the race this afternoon for World Challenge. So we've got a cast of thousands plus the IndyCar Radio Network, calling all of our Verizon IndyCar Series, Indy Lights action as well. Through Canada Corner now, so the field starting to slowly make their way side by side now, as the tribute cars come to turn 14 for the final time off of the racetrack onto pit lane and up that very tall Road America hill. And once again, Rob Howden with the impeccable timing walks right in the booth, saunters, sits down, and all the hard work is done and we go racing.
You did the heavy lifting. Wow, I made the start. That's surprising. Again, a great tribute to a great man, Jeff Green. The car's peeling off.
Manuel Telquinca on the flag stand,
Yes.
getting ready to wave this green flag in honor of Jeff Green.
And away they go. We're underway. Green, 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 and immediately Malukas goes to the inside of the racetrack. Cunha right on him. They'll fan out 3 wide, coming down into 1. I want to say Cunha to the outside, potentially leading, coming out of turn number 1. They'll block a bit coming down into turn number 3. Here goes Malukas to the inside. Aggressive move for David Malukas. He takes back the point. Malukas.
He really has not put a wheel wrong all weekend.
Loses the lead in turn number 1 and comes right back and gets it in turn number 3. You're right, Eric. He has just been absolutely fantastic thus far. First run down that long straightaway through the kink 4 into turn number 5, the hard braking zone. How about that? 2 wide all the way back. One driver. Oh, someone getting to the back. Another driver. Wing off. Evasive maneuvers further back for Stingray Rob. But mid-pack, an issue with one driver. Someone drove into the back of him, got into the rear wing. So we have a driver off on the exit of turn number 5. Hoping they could get through the opening lap cleanly. Yeah, there's some major damage there, Eric.
That is Guzman, I believe. That's the 27, I think.
What
perhaps.
a shame. If that's Raul Guzman, what a shame. Just a solid weekend thus far for the young Mexican driver.
The wheel is on top of the car instead of on the side of the car.
I was going to say, that looks to me like someone just absolutely jammed that thing and just pushed the left rear suspension vertically. Surprised the wheel didn't get snapped off. Again, Guzman getting out of the car and heading over the wall on the right side of the racetrack. Full course yellow being thrown here by Paul Blevins at start finish. They'll have that out around the racetrack. And indeed, looking to try to get that number panel. I think you're right. Good pickup there for Eric, the number 27 of Raul Guzman, who started in the second row outside P4.
Contact with Parker Thompson is what they're saying here from race control. So possibly Parker Thompson, keep an eye on that car, make sure that they don't have any damage on that 90 machine either. But full course yellow here. You know, the odd thing here, though, Rob, is I don't necessarily know if everybody saw the shot, but Paul Blevins really did not like that start. I don't think he was shaking his head a little bit.
Really? I wasn't looking up there at that indeed, because they really got off early and they were in line coming up the hill almost.
Yeah. So it was they went a little early, but it's still a clean start up and through turn 5, but unfortunate for Guzman losing that left rear wheel.
Yeah, indeed it was Parker Thompson. I'll look as he come across the line here. I can't see Parker at this point. There he is there. I don't see any damage for the number 90 of Parker Thompson. But again, the thing about turn 5, and
but he did lose.
Yeah, he lost
3 or 4 spots.
No doubt.
Quite sure.
But
of
no
that.
damage to the front of the car. But you go into that braking zone in turn number 5. We saw they were 2 wide, and guys are maybe not quite on the same brake marker. Guys are trying to roll more speed. They may be pinching to the inside. It stacks up like that. It's not that hard to have an incident where someone locks it up early, someone gets a little too deep into the corner. I'm surprised we didn't see it in the USF 2000 race with 13 rows of cars, 26 drivers. Here with the 14 in Pro Mazda. Just a tough end here for Raul Guzman after what I think was a very impressive debut weekend. We'll see if we can't have another look at this here, get a replay of the run down into turn number 5. Looks to me like whoever was on the inside of Parker Thompson, they were 3 wide. Parker was the meat of the sandwich. Whoever was on the inside came a bit to the right. Thompson, of course, moving over as well, and I think that's how he kind of got into maybe. Now, I don't know if it was right front to left rear or actually rear to rear. You know what? First and foremost, give props to Stingray Rob for the reaction time not to get in right into the side of a spinning Raul Guzman.
Well, he was looking right at the radiator opening on Guzman's car coming through turn 5 on the exit.
Split second reaction time for Stingray Rob avoids ending his race as well. But we are now under full course caution as the drivers will circulate around this track as we have our
little different timing of the caution in this one at the beginning rather than towards the middle. Hopefully we can stay green the rest of the way here for this Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tires.
15 laps or 40 minutes, the extension here for the drivers in the Pro Mazda category. Our last of 3 Mazda Road to Indy races here today. USF 2000 and Indy Lights back tomorrow. This is the second race of the doubleheader, Eric,
right.
for Pro Mazda. David Malukas winning yesterday, scoring both poles, trying to sweep the weekend. What a start. Rinus VK was that, I said it was Carlos Cunha, but I think it was actually Rinus VK who came around the outside to take the lead coming out of turn 1. But Malukas very aggressive to go right back at it in turn number 3. And of course that big run down to turn number 5. VK had to get out of the throttle, wasn't able to get back on it. And again, I kind of bottled things up behind them as well. So number 1, Raul Guzman out on the opening lap, officially classified now in 14th. Parker Thompson, who had started in 5th, now down into 9th. The point leader having to work his way back up.
And with traffic, again, we saw in the restart earlier today, single file in that last USF 2000 race, that restart was all jumbled up as well. Before they even got to the bottom of the hill, they were already 2 or 3 wide. So again, timing your starts is everything here at Road America. A little bit smaller field here, but still you want to make sure that you get a good run. The last thing that you want is that front row to kind of go, stop, check up a little bit. We call it a brake check, but that's the last thing you want here. But that's the danger of trying to go too soon or trying to guess when that start's going to occur.
So we got to start here. Watch out for the front, running 3 or 4 drivers. Malukas, VK, Cunha, Sowery, and Scott. That's your top 5. But keep an eye on that red, the metallic red, black, and white, number 90 for Parker Thompson, the young Canadian driver, starting now in the 9th position. He'll be on a roll quickly trying to get by Robert McGinnis. But the drivers will work their way out of turn number 14. Blevins is going to give them the green flag, and we're back underway. Single file start, but not for long, as they will come across the start-finish line. Already, Carlos Cunha going to the inside of his teammate, Rinus VK, going into 1 and make it 3 wide. Toby Sowery to the inside. He's through. Book it. Toby Sowery from 4th to 2nd in the opening corner. Wasting no time, Eric.
And they were 3 wide in the row just behind. So they definitely fanned out quite a bit as this field moving through.
Wow. Great start there for Toby Sowery. Once again, the BN drivers run 1st and 2nd. Now, though, Carlos Cunha says, okay, you gave up a little bit. I'm going to come back at you here in turn number 5. Carlos Cunha going to try to take a run at Sowery to get back into, I believe, the 2nd position. Not quite there. No, around the outside, in fact. In comes Andres Gutierrez in that yellow Team Pelfrey car as well. All this aggressive racing is allowing Parker Thompson to close back up. He was able to get by, I think, Robert McGinnis.
Almost looks like Harrison Scott got off a little bit there in turn 5, a little bit wide as well.
Harrison tried to get a run on Rinus VK coming down the hill in turn number 3, but yeah, you're right. He went at least to the far side of the rumbles. And again, these drivers aggressive early. You know that the opening lap, even though you can find yourself in some trouble if you get too over aggressive, it's the best opportunity to pass another car. So you do whatever you can to take full advantage of it. And again, Harrison Scott, never a guy you're going to say is not going to be aggressive, not going to go for that opportunity. This is the guy that dominated the Euro Formula Open Series in Europe last year, has already won 2 races here in 2018, his debut, as cloud of dust gets shot up by Charles Finelli further back on the racetrack.
Finelli's had a few offs now. That was over in the kink, however. That's a little bit more daunting of a task.
Yeah. An issue yesterday with the rear camber shim on the car. They got that dialed in and figured out. So hopefully Charles will get a full run here and get all the laps in. Malukas coming up to a pretty solid little advantage at this point here. We'll give you a full field rundown as they come back around to complete lap number 3. Again, up underneath the bridge here and coming to start-finish. David Malukas resets fast lap of the race at 2:03.801. Rinus VK runs in 2nd. Toby Sowery in the 3rd spot. Carlos Cunha in 4th. Harrison Scott 5th. Robert McGinnis 6th. 7th. What happened to Parker Thompson? He's coming across the line down in the 12th spot.
That car may have a little bit of working damage with
Exactly.
that contact with Guzman. That car may look okay, but he may have made wheel-to-wheel contact. And certainly if there's anything bent on that right rear, would certainly explain why they're having a little bit of a handling situation with that 90 machine.
They're going to rocket past us when they do come by. We'll try to do a visual on the car of Parker Thompson, but definitely a damaging run here for the driver in the Pro Mazda point lead. Thompson, I thought, trying to pick up these cars, was up into 8th. Indeed, that was his teammate Saravalli in the 8th spot. Thompson now trying to struggle to get as many points as he possibly can, with what could be a damaged race car.
And Stingray Robb is around him in the back. So Thompson falling to 12th now. in this field, struggling mightily with that car for the moment.
Indeed he is. I actually think that might be Oliver Askew that's falling back. I think a couple of positions here for Thompson. And again, you know what Parker Thompson will do, as any top driver will do. You figure out what the car can do, how bent it is, how you have to drive it, and you adjust the way you approach these corners. It may be real loose snapping on in, going into a corner. Now you have to change the way you approach your braking and your throttle application. So at this point, Thompson trying to salvage, because I think he's going to have a look to the inside of Nikita Listoshkin now.
Thompson maybe just trying to let the car sort itself out, figure it out, move forward from that point. A couple of cars going off in the kink again on the rumble strips. That has been a popular place to drop the left rear wheel, and that's not the place you want to do it.
No, thank
at
you.
all.
No, thank you. All right, here they come back up the stripe here. We're going to have a little look and see if we can't pick up anything with Parker Thompson. He is working his way back forward. We're not, if it's going to be on the left side of the right side of the car, rather, we're not going to be able to pick it up from here. He's closed right back up on his teammate Antonio Serravalle. So Thompson 9th. He'll go to, I believe, 8th here. He's going to get a run to the inside of Serravalle coming into 1. Indeed, passes him before they get to the turn-in. So Parker Thompson figuring it out what's going on with that car. He's already back into the 8th spot. But again, the two drivers he's battling in the points, Rinus VeeKay and Carlos Cunha, now 3rd and 4th. Remember, it was Thompson who was able to get by Cunha in the late going, get by Rinus VeeKay to stretch his lead by 3 points. Again, all about recovery here. Still a long way to go. 10 laps remaining. Now, again, a little difference in what we're seeing on the screen and what we're seeing on live timing. Live timing says 4 laps down. Video screen saying 5 laps in.
That would be working lap 5, 4 complete, working lap 5.
Make that adjustment in my mindset so I don't continue to look at that, because that's not what I would do, but I understand.
Don't confuse announcers. We're creatures of habit.
Please, keep it simple. You know what? Who's keeping it simple is David Malukas. My goodness. This, you know what? He's been strong at times throughout the year. Showed promise last year in USF 2000. But talk about a breakout weekend for a young driver. Again, lives just down the road in Chicago, Illinois. 2nd year on the Mazda Road to Indy after running USF 2000 last year in the debut season for BN Racing. They waste no time and expand and add a couple of Pro Mazda cars this year to go to a 4-car team, 2 Pro Mazda and 2 in USF 2000. And he gave them their first win this year. He got their first pole last year here at Road America. And if you listen to the podium interview yesterday, David was the one thing he was disappointed with not being able to capitalize on that pole last year. He really wanted to get the job done, having been able to find the speed throughout that weekend. And I think just the pressure was off of him a little bit, being able to do what he did.
Well, they typically will have that weight lifted off their shoulder. Once you get that first win in the bag, it relieves that pressure a little bit. And he talked about revenge. I think what maybe would have meant was redemption after not capitalizing on that pole last year. But he really was emotional in victory lane yesterday, which was great to see. It's the youth of this sport is coming on strong. There's such a great precision to driving these cars, and this Mazda Road to Indy is the perfect way to move on up that ladder system to the Verizon IndyCar Series. And not only driving, but handling, disappointment, handling, victories, and certainly just being able to carry yourself with great poise under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
And Malukas has really been developing over the course of the last year or so.
And that's the whole Mazda Road to Indy. It's not just about developing a driver's racecraft, moving them up the ranks. They grow as they're with the program. You're talking drivers who start at 15 years of age, 2 years in USF 2000, they're 17. 2 years in Pro Mazda, they're 19. 2 years or 3 years in Indy Lights, they're going to be 21 years old. Look at that growth period of any young man or woman from 15 to 21, and they're doing it in this pressure cooker that is the world of motorsports. And I think for a driver like David Malukas, the pressure was on because he hadn't won yet, and I find that to be a negative pressure, because you really want to win. If it gets you too much, you start getting a little too anxious. The pressure's now on to continue, and that's a more internal pressure, I think. As we're watching a pretty good run here for Parker Thompson, he was able to reel in Andres Gutierrez. Thompson now back into the 7th position. And Eric, when you think about the championship run of any driver, once they won that title, they're able to go back and say, hey, you know what? It wasn't the win here or my win here. It was me getting back from 7th to 2nd somewhere, or a podium I got here where I avoided a disastrous weekend and got back to 4th. Something like that is what changes the mindset of any team. And Parker's really digging in right now to try to get himself back up, salvage some points, and really minimize the potential loss.
You know, you talk so much about the development and how it's kind of an internal pressure. This is a results-driven business. Pardon the pun, but this is a results aspect of driven business. And you know, Thompson trying to fight back from maybe a mental mistake, trying to re-energize himself for the rest of the race, trying to get back to top 5. You got to set yourself a goal and get there.
Call it P6 right now, because I think he just made the move by Robert McGinnis down in turn number 3. So yeah, top 5. He's 6th already. Can he go run down Carlos Cunha? I don't know. But right now he is up to 6th position and going by Robert McGinnis. He's allowed both Andres Gutierrez and Stingray Robb in there as well. So McGinnis in a position potentially losing a couple spots. Gutierrez gets by. Here comes Stingray Robb with a run at turn number 7. Let's see if Robb's able to go by when they get down into the hurry downs of turn number 8. There's Thompson. Indeed, side by side. Stingray Robb tried the outside. Give him that. That's a tough place to pass. You got to clear the driver pretty significantly to be able to get by on the outside at turn number 8.
And that's all. That pass is all set up through the momentum out of 6, through 7, and then down into 8 into braking. But what a great move to get around and up into that next position. Really a difficult pass.
Still a long way to go. Working lap number 7, 6 down, and for Thompson, we'll start looking at splits. At 2:02.7 last time by. He was actually a full second quicker than Carlos Cunha as he was chasing down Robert McGinnis. So maybe a top 5 still here for Thompson. If he's able to get by Cunha, that's a guy he's battling in the championship. If you can finish in front of him, again, minimizing the point loss. Thompson on a roll. We're going to keep watching lap times here. Toby Sowery is actually the fastest driver on the racetrack, trying to reel in his teammate. The gap less than 1.2 seconds down to 1.08. In fact, Sowery trying to close to within a second of David Malukas, who continues to lead. Again, McGinnis on full defense, trying to see if he can hold off Stingray Robb. That is for the 8th position. Stingray's going to try him on the outside coming down the hill into turn number 3. We'll cut to another shot, but Stingray Robb throwing everything at Robert McGinnis. Last time I look at lap times, Parker Thompson and Carlos Cunha virtually identical 2:03.3s.
Stingray Robb off in the driver's right, just trying everything he can do to get around McGinnis. But you look at the crossover move out of 3 down towards Sargento, and now down into turn 5, and Robb right back on the gearbox, trying to get back to McGinnis up the hill into turn 6 underneath the Corvette Bridge.
Gap between Carlos Cunha and Parker Thompson, 1.8 seconds, so a significant gap now still with a number of laps remaining, 8 laps still to go. Parker's going to have to be at least 0.2 of a second quicker a lap if he wants to close back in, and Cunha not close enough to Harrison Scott for them to battle. That would potentially allow Thompson to get back in. He'll have to do it all by himself if he wants to get himself back here into the top 5. Again, I'm keeping an eye on Toby Sowery as he was 1.08 seconds back last time by. He's trying to close in on his teammate. Harrison Scott closing in on Rinus VK as well.
Well, Sowery was coming in a little bit of a hurry yesterday as well, in race 1. So Malukas kind of ran away and hid early in that race, and slowly Sowery started to reel him in a little bit.
You hate to say it.
A little bit warmer temperatures today.
You hate to say it, too. Teammates at BN Racing. Toby's in a one-off right now. David Malukas trying to claw back in the championship. Is there kind of an unspoken, hey, you know what, I might go for the win, or I might just try to get second? Maybe you have me back to race again at the next event. I don't know what it may be, but David Malukas with a couple of race wins. Now remember, bonus points for pole as well. If he wins here, he's going to essentially have swept all the points possible. 32 points on grabs any day, so 64 points, a full points haul, as Malukas moved his way back into 5th spot in the points, significantly back still from Parker Thompson, but another race win here could definitely chip away at that lead.
Yeah, Sowery lost about a tenth there to 1.18 seconds now.
Parker Thompson, though, he's within a half a second. He was 1.2 seconds quicker. Wow. Thompson down to a 2:02.1. He was faster than Sowery last time by Parker Thompson. If there's any damage on that car, he's figured it out. I don't think there is. I think he might have just settled in and got kind of shuffled out a bit. Maybe had some dirt on the tires as he is getting ready to go to work on Carlos Cunha. Thompson quicker by almost a full second from Rinus VK as well. Again, lots of time here. Harrison Scott faster than VK. They're going to start racing. Parker Thompson back up on the wheel.
Harrison Scott slowly reeling in VK as well here through the middle stages of this Grand Prix of Road America.
Our third Mazda Road to Indy event of the day. We kick things off, of course, with Indy Lights. Fourth straight victory for Colton Herta, who's got that confidence and momentum we like to speak of. USF 2000 as well. Excellent run for Kyle Kirkwood. The point leader's doing a good job so far here this weekend. Again, drivers coming out here at a turn 14, back up the hill to start finish. Your two BN drivers looking good. There's a shot of how close Harrison Scott is, and he's riding it out to all the way to the outside. And Parker Thompson's got by Carlos Cunha. Thompson was back in at 12th position at one point. He has worked his way to 5th. Here's a great battle here as well. That is McGinnis, Askew, Robb, and Listoshkin all running together. That is 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
And Robb actually had a little bit of an off and on agricultural experience over in turn 4 again. He seems to like trying to make some maneuvers to driver's right, getting towards Sargento Bridge, and this time it cost him a spot as Askew's gotten around of him now.
Well, all that racing with Robert McGinnis, I think, to be honest, McGinnis in the number 9 probably holding those guys up now. Robb wasn't able to get by, threw everything at it that he could. A little error, as you said, allowed Oliver Askew to capitalize. They kind of stacked up behind McGinnis. So watch for Askew to try to get by here as well to see if he can't go to P8. Leaders coming out of turn 6 through turn number 7. VK with a little bit more of an advantage over Harrison Scott as they exit turn number 6. There they are down to turn 8. Under the bridge in turn 6, there's that great battle between McGinnis, Askew, Robb, and Listoshkin. 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. We'll watch lap times again to see who can be quick here at the late going. 6 laps remaining, 6 to go. We're not done at all in terms of who's going to be on the podium. Harrison Scott's still trying to throw more at Rinus VK, but Rinus dug in and did a 2:02.6. David Malukas last time by 2:01.9. Wow. Malukas, fastest driver on the racetrack. 2:01.952. He'll be thrilled with that pace. That young driver looking to try to win his second race here of the weekend. He's been good, as I said, throughout the year. But, you know, Eric, you've seen it before in many races that you've called. You get that kid that wins the first one, and it opens the floodgate. I'm not going to say that Malukas is going to win the rest of the races for the rest of the season. But when you believe you can win, you can come out of the box and do this. It often happens again, yeah.
Absolutely. Confidence booster. Talk about McGinnis under pressure from Oliver Askew and Stingray Robb coming out of turn 12 last time by. Now they're side by side. Robb losing a little bit of momentum to Listoshkin. But just to coming out of turn 12, McGinnis had a little bit of a moment, and Askew was all the way to just about his left rear tire coming out of Canada, and Robb went to the inside and lost all the momentum, having to get back on the binders and going back up the hill.
A couple interesting things right now here as we're looking at 5 laps to go. Still some time left in this race. David Malukas set a new track record in qualifying. He, of course, now has the new race record as well. So David Malukas writing his name into the Road America record books here for Pro Mazda. I'm watching Parker Thompson still. Look at that last lap, Eric. 2:02.48, a half a second faster than Harrison Scott. He's 2.6 back with 5 to go. That would put him on the gearbox on the final lap, because right now Harrison has dropped with about 7/10 behind Rinus VK. I don't think Parker Thompson is done yet. He would like to see Harrison Scott get in front of Rinus VK, number 1 just for the points. But Thompson pushing hard, the exclusive Autosport machine. Point leader, running in 5th.
Salvaging disaster is what Parker Thompson's doing right now. And he's got to make sure that when he gets to, if he happens to get to Harrison Scott's gearbox, what not to do is to throw it away. He's got a top 5 right now. He's only going to lose a couple of points to VK at this point. But you've got to think at this point, what's in it for me? Can I really get all I can get out of this, or do I want to throw it away?
And I'll tell you right now, Parker Thompson's an experienced driver that would not do that. He would take his shot at it. And the great thing about this track is that you can make a decisive, aggressive pass under braking, and you're not going to risk yourself. It's not like one of those ones you have to throw it in. You can get beside someone, make that deep pass, and get the job done. There's runoff to be able to use. Lots of opportunity, but really right now, Thompson's still got to close up first. We'll look at the lap times again. He does a 2:02.5, but Scott comes back with a 2:02.6. He closes 0.3 of a second on Rinus VK. So again, Scott battling with VK would be perfect for Parker Thompson. He wants those guys to go at it for the final position on the podium, so potentially he can work his way back up there. Otherwise, again, 1.3 seconds the advantage. David Malukas is just absolutely flat, dominating the weekend here at Pro Mazda. The fourth different winner of the season already. Rinus VK sweeping the weekend at the streets of St. Petersburg. Harrison Scott and Parker Thompson sharing the wins at both Barber Motorsports Park and the Grand Prix of Indianapolis week in the road course at IMS. And then Thompson coming back with that win at the Freedom 90 at Lucas Oil Raceway. That has given him a pretty nice little point lead. 40 coming in. 43 after race number 1 this weekend, but really David Malukas as the fourth different winner, so impressive this weekend.
You can just see him walking through to the grid area, getting that car ready to go for this race 2 today. How much confidence he had in that machine after yesterday's win.
You're a different driver.
He was a totally different person.
You're a different driver once you've won, once you've got the job done. And David Malukas is used to winning. He's done it before so many times. He came through the karting ranks. He was the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour champion in the X30 junior class. He went to Europe and won the X30 World Championships against drivers from all over the globe racing in Le Mans. This guy knows how to get the job done, knows how to win, and now that he's done it in cars, I have a feeling that he'll be padding the resume for the next number of years. David Malukas for BN Racing from Chicago, Illinois. 4 laps remaining as he will, again, pace his teammate across the line. Watching lap times, watching splits. No real action up front, first and second, but third and fourth not yet done. They've got a big gap back, over 7 seconds to Rinus VK.
Turn 10, exit to the carousel.
Driver off on the exit of the carousel. That's a Charles Finelli, I believe. Finelli in the 83, way off the racetrack. 3 laps to go. And just like in USF 2000, this could have effectively ended the race. But if they can pull him out of the racetrack, he's well off the track. I'm not sure if they may even try to stay green. He's that far off the track. I'm not sure if we're going to even go green. They may keep him where he is right now. As I said before, our race staff does whatever they can. If they believe they can stay green, they will. Finelli so far off the track on the outside of turn number, was it 9?
That would be the
turn
exit.
8, pardon me, turn 8.
Yeah, that would be the exit of turn 10, and they're trying to get him out of the car right now to keep this race green.
Oh, nice. So, of course, Eric in communication with race control. Well off the track and early in. That's like kind of the entry coming in, I believe, is it not? Or is it all the way down to the very exit?
All the way to the very exit
okay.
of the carousel, closer to the bridge.
Well, regardless, we're staying green, and that has allowed this race to continue. Harrison Scott still 0.4 of a second back. Both he and VK are running 2:03 1s and 2s last time by. Watching the drivers come through the kettle bottoms as well. We'll get a full rundown here. There's a battle. Trying to figure out what fight that is for here now at this point. I think that's Parker Thompson. That's Parker Thompson around Rinus VK, I believe, in turn number 12. Whatever happened during that, Harrison Scott able to get by. Parker Thompson has worked his way by Rinus VK. Thompson was 12th at one time. He has worked his way now back into the 4th position. Harrison Scott back to P3. Eric, talk about a monumental change in the order here on that just one lap.
That is an unbelievable drive. No question.
You got to believe that Harrison Scott and Rinus VK went side by side somewhere. They must have held each other up enough to allow Parker Thompson to get in there, whether it was coming down to the hurry downs, wherever it was. That allowed Parker Thompson to get a run heading down into Canada Corner. He is now clearing Rinus VK, and what could have been a disastrous race here for Parker Thompson to not so much disastrous, but to lose ground in his championship where he has a gap to indeed add to the point lead, having got by both Carlos Cunha and Rinus VK for the second straight day.
Sounds like there may have been some contact between the two at some point from what race control is looking at. So that would certainly explain where they lost a little bit of momentum here as Thompson back inside the top 4. Who'd have thought after him going almost completely off the racetrack with the contact and losing all the way back to about 9th and to race his way back to the top 4 right now, just missing out on the podium. But that in and of itself is a great drive by Parker Thompson.
Again,
incredible.
It's a win. When you can come in here and not be perfect and have some issues but still beat your 2 primary point challengers, it's a win. David Malukas is going to tighten things up from 5th up to the top. But again, it'll be even bigger point lead for Parker Thompson. He was able to add, I believe, 3 points. Essentially, we're looking at exactly the same lineup as we did yesterday. Malukas, Sowery, and Scott in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Thompson 4th, VK 5th, Cunha 6th. That's how they ended, I believe, yesterday. So Thompson looking to claw 3 more points away from his competition. As 2 laps to go as they come back up the hill. David Malukas. No, indeed, white flag. There it is. White flag by our starter, Paul Blevins. 1 to go. I know when I talked to David Malukas in the race yesterday, he said he missed 5 to go. He was wondering where we were. He was just waiting for that white flag to come out. Look at the new fast lap. Parker Thompson. No damage to that car. He just reset things and went to work. 2:01.897. Parker Thompson now trying to close in on the final lap on Harrison Scott. Could he make a move for the podium? Parker Thompson, last time by, was about, I want to say, 0.7 of a second quicker. We may have a battle here. They come down under the Sargento Bridge. Parker Thompson may try to go for the podium here. From 12th to 3rd, do you think? They'll come down to turn number 5. He is within 2 car lengths coming out of turn number 5. Parker Thompson in the exclusive Auto Sports machine putting on an absolute performance here today, taking nothing away from the run up front for David Malukas. But Thompson now to P4 to challenge.
Drifting back just a little bit through 7 on the way into 8, but into the run for the Speedville Bridge, into the carousel. 4 or 5 car lengths maybe. It's stretching out just a little bit, but Thompson maybe just trying to wait on the tires here, get a good run out of the carousel, get a good launch, hold it wide open through the kink, get a little bit of pull through Kettle Bottoms, and into 12 make his move.
Here come the leaders. That's the leader. That's Malukas into Canada Corner. Sowery as well. Here they come through. We need to go back to Canada Corner. Let's see what's going on there for the drivers here coming to the battle. It'll again be Parker Thompson trying to get around Harrison Scott. Oh, just got away as they came through. Almost saw it, but didn't. We cut away a little too just as they were coming through. But regardless, David Malukas, ladies and gentlemen, will come out. There's your, I think it's still potentially Scott there. But again, coming up to start, finish. Fantastic run here for David Malukas, your winner. Toby Sowery in second. The run to thirds. They come to the line. Who's it going to be? It is Harrison Scott holding back a charging Parker Thompson. You never know. Parker might have had in his mind, I could go for this, I could throw it down, or do I take my 4th, extend my point lead over Rinus VK and Carlos Cunha, and put it in the trailer and head for the next race, which, for Parker Thompson, is the home country, the streets of Toronto.
Absolutely. But a fantastic drive back from as far back as 12th, all the way back to 4th after the contact with Raul Guzman.
Wow. I'll tell you, David Malukas, you cannot speak more highly this weekend of this young driver. Did not put a wheel wrong, was quick out of the box, both pole positions, back-to-back jacks here to win in Pro Mazda. 2 wins, full points on the season. He puts himself right back into the title fight. He's got work to do to close up to Parker Thompson, but it is not done for the young driver out of Chicago. Toby Sowery, his teammate, just 1 race in the USF 2000 series last year. Again, 3rd in 2016, 4th in 2017 in the BRDC British Formula 3 series. The talent is there for Toby Sowery. What a run to second place today. I hope we see more of him here in 2018 ahead of what could be a full program in 2019.
And another podium finish for Harrison Scott as he rebounds after a couple of tough finishes and that wreck, of course, at Lucas Oil Raceway. That's your podium. Malukas, Sowery, and Scott. Parker Thompson putting on a show, coming from 12th to 4th, almost going for the podium on the final circuit. He'll take 4th position and gain more points to expand that point lead over the Juncos teammates of Arenas VK and Carlos Cunha. And with his position of P3, Harrison Scott may find himself up into 3rd as well. I think the championship top 5 is going to shake up a little bit, but no doubt Malukas back making it exciting.
No question, Malukas did not put a wheel off track at all this weekend. Not a wheel wrong at all, and comes away with a weekend sweep. Not only pole, track record, but 2 wins.
2 wins.
That's not a bad weekend at the racetrack.
These are those weekends you savor. You take your time, breathe in, and savor an absolutely perfect weekend. Again, excellent job for David Malukas. Of course, we'll head down to Victory Lane soon. Cap things off here on the broadcast of the Mazda Road to Indy app and roadtoindy.tv. David Malukas, Toby Sowery, and Harrison Scott, your top 3. Parker Thompson coming back, your point leader, running from 12th up to 4th.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
Radio check.
Wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
Do you know what it means to race here?
Do you know the opportunities that exist here?
Do you know the pressure? All around the country.
All around the world.
There's drivers young and old.
We want the chance to do what we are doing.
What we are fighting for.
What we're racing for.
We've raced our whole lives and sacrificed so much.
Oh, we have contact! We've worked hard.
Stayed up late.
And gotten up early.
We've proven doubters wrong and made our supporters proud.
Our dream is in front of us.
The only thing left to do
is win.